Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, a place for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious to unite under all things art and tattoos. We encourage you to join in these live streams and real-world events where we offer a new option for connecting with each other to better your art, develop your skill set, and be with other like-minded people. If you are new to the community, you can find us beaming out nearly every day. We've evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that expand nearly every day. You are currently watching episode number 49 of the Tattoo Collecting Podcast. Let's say thank you to everyone joining us on YouTube or Facebook, and a special thanks to you who are listening to our podcast. You can find our event schedule and notifications in our official Reinventing community at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. You can also search for and download our app, found in both app stores, Apple and Google Play. There you'll find all of our network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars. All of this can be enjoyed on demand and are stored in our library as well as the YouTube and podcast channels. In fact, we're actually beaming out 24/7 at reinventing247.com. You can see constant streams of 4 different channels. There you can also enter to win a goodie bag at reinventing247.com with samples from Cheyenne cartridges, raw pigments, and D-Lies Pro. And if you haven't seen some of our weekly shows, on Sundays at 1 p.m. we have our Reinventing Drawing Group with Jason Leiser. Every 9 p.m. on Sundays is a new show with Jake Meeks, myself, and Gabe Ripley called the Tattoo Weekly, where we highlight recent events and stories, pull some stuff out of the archives as well. And if you are available Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have our class with Guy Aitchison where we focus on anatomy this month. You can subscribe to the canon and join these events at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Every Tuesday morning, find Ricardo Sturdivant for his Reinventing Drawing Group. Wednesdays at noon, the Tattoo Now show, and rumor has it Fawn Baker will be featured on an upcoming episode with Gabe. Every Thursday, find us here for the Tattoo Collecting Podcast, and early morning subscribers can join Kier for fundamental lessons that kind of revolve around the same stuff that's being worked on with Guy. Again, this month we're focusing on anatomy. There are a few ways you can also support this show with our upcoming pro development and on-demand shows. We've got stuff from Andre Malcolm, BJ Betts, Bob Tyrell, and others, again, at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors. We've got World Tattoo Events, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. Also, inkjet stencils, print stencils from your mobile or computer. Save your time, your hands, or your apprentice's hands. If you'd like samples or to check out their webinars, inkjetstencils.com. Also got Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source with acrylic-free pigments that have been pressing artists across the globe. Make sure you check out D-Lies Pro, known internationally as Dermalize Pro, at dermalizepro.com. Protect your art if you are using Saran Wrap. Watch videos of their stuff on their website. Of course, Tattoo Now and the founder behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. You can find his Biomech Encyclopedia, DVDs, and all of that at guyaitchison.com. Again, thank you, Jake, from the Fireside Tattoo Network. You can find him on the Tattoo Weekly every Sunday at 9. I also want to say thank you to the Apprenticeship Diaries and eco42supplies.com. Make sure to catch us and other Reinventing the Tattoo hosts at the BYOB event October 3rd to 6th of this year. I'm sure we'll be talking further about that, as well as some of us in Brussels at the Brussels Tattoo Convention with Nick Baxter, Ivana, and Gabe Ripley. They'll be doing seminars, beaming in an art jam, and more. Got several other events coming up. Again, our event schedule will be found at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. We also welcome positive reviews on our channels and would definitely love for you to follow us. Other than that, if you would like to be a part of or host one of these events or to sponsor our community, contact us at management@reinventingthetattoo.com. And for now, I'm going to get out of here and I will be in the background reading off comments. I'll have the browser open if you guys would like anything shared. But otherwise, let us know where you're beaming in from and we'd love to see you in the chat. I'm going to hand it right on over to you, Jordan.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, welcome back to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you for listening. This is episode 49 today.
Can you believe we've made it this far?
Oh, it's so cool. I can't believe it's been this long.
Next week will be episode 50.
That's amazing.
And we will have Adam joining us. So we'll be just kind of chilling and hanging out with Adam. We'll get to hear
Adam who?
Mr. France,
Mr. France.
the one and
You all know
only.
the club we're a part of.
You know it. Well, if you don't, it's Adam France.
It's the Adam France
Right?
fan club.
The AFFC.
Maybe just
I like
use
that.
AFC.
Google.
It's the AFC. The Adam France fan club.
He'll pop up.
Speaking of
AF
Adam
squared T.
France, Adam just completed a guest spot at Red Tree, right?
Yep.
Did he head home the other day?
Yeah.
I've been
Yep.
MIA.
I think
the
his last
couple
day
days.
was Thursday, and then he did Tattoo Thursday, did the What Fest thing.
Mhm.
Super bummed I missed out on that, but I had to take my opportunity to tattoo. I had to leave Saturday too, early for some family things. Go back home to Michigan.
Travel.
The dirty mitten. The dirty mitten.
Yep.
I'm due for a trip. I haven't been up to Michigan at all. One of my friends might be coming down this weekend, though, so that's kind of like a little dose of dirty mitten in my life.
Nice. I need some more dirty mitten in my life. I do. Every time I go there, I'm like, I like it here.
You know, it's a funny thing when you move away from Michigan.
I just like how many trees there are.
Yeah, you don't like the first time I did some traveling, and I went out to
Right side and the left.
I went out to Colorado, and as we're hiking in Colorado, and I'm looking at all the trees, and we're like playing in ravines and like
Right.
little creeks and stuff. It's like, man, I miss my Michigan woods.
I miss
Like they were just my
nature.
backyard growing
Yeah,
up, so
yeah.
it wasn't special. It was like, oh yeah, like
Right.
we've got woods, but it's like
And then
steep
we-
hills, and all you can do is this, and this, and dirt bikes, and this and that. Like it's
And
not
the
like
list
anything
goes
to
on.
speak of, but like you could do this and this, and then you go somewhere where it's like fields, and
And you're
it's
like, the fuck is this? I thought we were going outside.
somebody would be like, you want to go hiking, and you're on a paved path the whole time. Like that's not hiking
not a
to
hike.
me. First of all, like I'm in flip-flops.
You should have asked if we wanted to go to the park, because then that implies
Let's go for a walk.
that's like a bike path. You want to stroll around the softball field? Cool. I had somebody ask me to go on a hike. I'm like, I'm a hiker. You know what I mean? Like I spent a lot of time.
He's like, how many days?
Yeah. I'm like, also, what are we doing? And they met him at this like metro park. And I was just kind of like,
We're gonna walk around. We're gonna do this circle here.
I think
And Ben's like, so
think
our
we're-
trail passes this circle somewhere? Like when's the real trail start?
No, it loops back right here. You know, it's like
it's like 0.6
Eight-
miles. It should be a good day. Like bro, that's,
figure we have a nice walk together.
that's like a warm up. That's like me getting my gear out of the car.
I feel like if I went on a hike that short with my dog, she'd be like, are we
My-
going somewhere next?
my dog
Was
would
this
be
the
right.
warm up?
My
Right.
dog would be
Same.
pissed. Like we did what? That was it? You got me out for this? Miska doesn't get she's
Lola would be like,
more
I'm
of a
not even
hiker than I
winded
am.
yet.
right. She's more of a hiker than I am. We've done 15, 16 miles, got to camp, and she's just, I mean, she carries her own gear, she carries a tent, she carries her own food when we go. And we still get to camp. She's like, what's up? What's next? What are we doing? There's a creek down there. We go to the creek.
Right.
I'm like,
That's how Eon's always been.
I am
And
done.
it's so sad to see him now. His hips are kind of getting bad.
Yeah,
so
it sucks.
I get like a mile out of him, and then I'm like, oh man, I gotta stop walking.
We are done.
Yeah.
I put Lolo's backpack on her the other day. Still fits. I was afraid she'd gotten too portly.
Little tank.
Yep.
Too
Still
portly.
fits. She was just as happy to wear it as she was when she was like younger, and I put it on her. So
It's cool when they see it as like, this is my job.
she gets
Now
very
I wear
official
it.
and like her tail is at point, like
Yeah.
still wagging, but like at point, and her ears are up, and like, you know how one's usually flapped down, they're both
Right.
like symmetric and at attention, and she's like, what are we doing next?
What's next?
What are we doing?
It's cool to see that purpose like switch in their head.
Mhm.
Like, oh, now I got a job to do. Cool.
Yeah, my dog is absolutely not a work dog in any means, but when you see her brain switch into that work dog mode, like
Right.
she's still Lolo, she's still happy, she's still like
See,
her,
Miska
but-
is a work dog. That's the thing. Like, and I kind of feel bad. Like, we didn't realize that she was a shepherd when we got her. She was a cute little fluffy puppy. Like, we adopted her, so that's always a guess. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And once she got a little bit bigger, we were like, oh,
she's gonna want to run. She's gonna want water.
It's funny. We'll put her outside. She just laps the backyard, She herds everything. The cats, the other dog, nips everybody's heels. It's like, you need a job, doggy. You need a job. And I always feel bad for not having more for her. So one of these days, I still want to be able to like be that guy that gets up early to go on walks and take your dog for the actual like exercise it's supposed to get. And I'm just not that human being yet. Well, we're working into him though, so we'll get there. We'll get
Funny
there.
story. When Ben and I first started like hanging out and getting close with each other, I was at his house, and Miska's his dog that we're talking about, but Miska was like just going bananas and running all over, just happy. Like she wasn't being bad per se. But like we're trying to have a conversation, and the dog's like all over, just like zooming figure eights around all of us in the room. And Ben out of nowhere is like, "You need a farm." And I was like, I think to myself, like, she's not even really like, she just, I was like, he wants to get rid of her because she's like running circles.
Nah.
Like, and then he says the same thing again in another situation. And then it clicks like, oh, you want a farm for your dog, not you're
Yeah.
going to send her to a farm.
I would also like to live there. I would also like to live
How
there.
dare she have energy?
Well, and I kind of forgot that like, the send them to the farm is a thing. Like,
Yeah, I'm like,
I never implied
she's
it
not
that
even
way.
being bad, and you want to like just get rid of her. And
No.
and then it clicked after I heard you say it a few other times. And it was like, oh, you want a
I
farm,
also
and the
would like to
dog
live
is
at
your
the farm.
excuse.
Yeah. Give her the baby sheeps to take care of or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah,
You
look,
know,
goat,
Maybe a goat.
herd a goat.
A donkey.
Word on the street.
Word on the street.
We might be getting a tiny pony in the family,
Cart horsey.
all white,
What?
with a little sulky, a little 2-person sulky that it'll pull.
Like a rickshaw for a
Basically,
baby horse.
I feel like in America we call them sulkies, but you could call it a rickshaw if you will.
I was giving Frank
A chariot, a 2-person chariot of
Only
battle.
if I can stand and throw a spear will I engage in this activity.
I mean, you might be able to do like one of these numbers. I don't know about throwing things off of it.
What if we slowly
Lawn
start
darts.
training mini horse to allow me to do such things? And we can set up a sideshow.
We cannot ride mini horses.
I can't wait to hear the history of the mini horse. This has just been being spoken of in my family, but I think my sister and her husband are getting a mini horse.
That's actually really cool.
Why
Yeah.
can't we ride mini horses? What's wrong with that? we need some input.
We're
from
not
you.
many people.
You're not a mini person.
But they have a cart.
I know many people that could ride mini horses.
I'm not great at science, but there is something about leverage that allows you to ride
Ben,
in a cart behind them.
We
right?
can't.
It's just not
I'm just
allowed.
kidding. I don't know.
I thought
I don't know how big. It depends on how big the mini horse is. I was just giving you some poop.
It's going to be pretty little.
Is it like
It's
tiny mini horse?
like smaller than a
Pull
Great
all the
Dane.
children around.
Yeah, it'll be able to pull children, but I don't.
Just
I don't know
not-
about
just
real
not
men.
like-
behind it.
Yes.
160 or 200 pound people.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I
Thanks,
think little
Jordan.
people all
Way
day.
to call me fat subtly.
I need to emphasize mini horse.
We are full-grown
not
adults here.
maximum horse.
No, that's a mini horse. One part of mini was missing. Maybe mini people. Okay, I get it. Okay, so what
Ben,
you're
you got to
saying
come
is-
back down to earth, man.
I'm sorry. I just have unrealistic expectations about a lot of things.
I'm just
A lot of
joking.
things.
Just joking.
So maybe if we get some little people.
I love mini horses though.
I mean, we have children. Those are pretty petite people.
I was
See,
still working.
I
the
didn't know. I
sideshow
didn't know if
angle
you
there.
meant mini horse or like pony.
Well, I mean, it's a little. I mean, I guess miniature horses are ponies, but
Well, I had a pony. I had a horse. It was a fucking big ass horse. You know, he was just a big old Palomino. And then I had my horse Rio, and he was a pony. I don't know what kind of pony, but he was
Mhm.
you know, so he was like half of the size. But then there was like the mini horses from there that are like little
Quarter
stubby,
horses, if you
fucking
will.
tiny things.
No, they're not actually called quarter horses because that's a whole
they're
other thing.
the
and
quarter
I
of
now-
a horse.
Yes, they are a quarter of a horse, not the big conference of equestrians.
Right. Yeah, well, I don't know a lot of details yet. It's a surprise, so we haven't had a chance to like get all the details. But
mini horse though.
yeah, there's going to be a mini horse. I can't wait.
Can we hand feed the fruits?
Probably. I don't
Apples,
imagine.
carrots, peppermints.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm in.
yeah. We'll be able to give it.
Get the horse
What-
whips.
This all loops
Clover.
back around to tattooing. We promise.
that
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I don't know how. Like, I'm just excited that we're going to have a mini horse
I
in
think
the
that's
family.
awesome. I think that's so awesome. I love horses so much. I grew up with them. I've always had them. till we had to sell them. We didn't make any money from them, and they cost a lot of money. And we never. You'd think like oh, you had horses, so you must have had money. We had horses with no money.
Yeah.
So like they got very costly, and hay went from like $1 a bale, $2 a bale to literally like $6 a bale. And then alfalfa turned into like $8+ a bale when it was like $2-3 a bale. When you know, we're buying like a fuck ton a month. I was just a little kid doing my thing. But
Yeah.
I was just like, dang, mom, that sucks.
No more horses. Shucks.
Yeah, she was the horse lover. I liked to ride them, didn't really care to ride them too much. I just loved hanging out with them. They were big dogs for me, and they would follow me around. They'd play with Eon. Like that was the best.
There's something really cool about if you haven't spent time with horses, and I don't mean like going to a stable and like riding a trail horse for a day, but I mean if you've ever like been around horses and built that relationship with horses,
they feel as much as
They're
a
like
dog. They
people.
act just like a dog. People just interact with them differently than they do dogs, and they're always outside. So like the relationship people build with them is different. But if you're with that animal every day, you get to know it just like you would your dog.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know how the animal's going to react when you do certain things. The animal's going to know how you react. So when you go out there, he's going to come right up to you, be happy you're out there.
Yep. It's funny the way
habits
like
you build are the habits that they keep.
and
They're smart.
horses are
You can
different
train
with
them real
different
easy.
people. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? There are difficult horses who like only have their people and that's it.
Yeah,
They won't like give anybody the time of day.
My horses were different with every single person, or
Mhm.
every person they interacted with, and they had to build a relationship with them before they even cared to be around them.
Growing up, my parents had friends that had a horse farm, and we actually got an off-season show horse that was from Blue Jackets. So we got this horse in their off time. So, but we got it for like 2 or 3 years in a row.
So
And
they were just boarding it there.
pretty much, but it was like a really trained, could shoot from the back of it, could ride it bareback, touch tap it. I mean, like it was a really well-trained horse, but they had horses there as well. And it was like, they all had different personalities. You could only do certain things with certain, and it was weird to have to learn that community, for lack of a better term, like the balance of what does what. Like they had Pertrons, and they had like all kinds of different. They had Tennessee Walker, they had a short horse, they had like, so it was like but at the root of it, they were all like trail horses, you know?
Yeah.
So Candy would come and was super trained, and like it took her a couple weeks to get out of like show mode, if that makes sense. And then once she
was ready to work, she didn't relax.
Always. And it was like once that calmed down, like I was the only one that could literally like get her to that like easy.
Sometimes you see that with barrel racing horses, like they're ready to be like amped up all the time.
Horses.
Fair. Just in my group growing up, we had like barrel racers. We didn't. I was never really around like race horses until I was a little bit older.
My only reference with the race horses is a lot of people get them after they're retired. And when you take on that mindset of something that's been trained to do one thing, and now you're like, no, be a pet. Like there's this lag time that was
run for joy, be free.
I've heard it's trying. When I should have been going to college, I was dating a chick that played polo. And that's what they used majority of the time for polo, was old race horses. So you'd be there and all these people would have trailers on both sides of this giant field and just tying up these insane horses. Like they're bucking and kicking and rear end, and they're just lashing them to the side of a trailer like, get ready to run, because they're excited too. They're like, crazy. It was a crazy environment.
I've never been around racehorses.
Really? They were nuts. So I'll just leave it at that.
Later in life, I got to be around some racehorses, and like thoroughbreds are a little bit different. I was raised around Morgans, and they're a totally different animal. I mean, they're gentle giants is what they are. Like they're big workhorses.
That's a bougie horse. No, that'd be the top of the line. No.
I mean,
if we were buying cars, it'd be like a Porsche.
They're like one step down from a draft horse in size, but like at least the ones that I was around, they were all like trained so well. They were gentle giants. Like as a 4-year-old, I could climb up on them bareback and they would do whatever I wanted.
Welcome to Horse Talk.
Yeah.
The horse collecting podcast.
The horse
I'm really excited that we're going to get a pony in the family.
My mom would love this one.
Did we just go straight horse girl for the first 15 minutes,
Maybe.
20 minutes? Look at
Maybe
us.
this is what happens when I hang out with kids for the last 2 days. I don't know.
All right.
Instant content.
Welcome to the Back to the Tattoo Collecting podcast. Previously for 20 minutes known as the Horse Collecting Podcast.
Hey,
Bum, bum, bum.
I mean,
So what's new in tattoo?
New and tattoo.
Well, I got tattooed by Adam while he was here.
Oh, I was
Tell me
waiting for
about-
you
do
to
wanna-
bring
That was
that up.
something we didn't get on that we were leading to, and then started talking about.
Do you wanna-
animals
do you wanna-
somehow.
Because we're smoking weed and something made me think of tiny horse.
That's what I love about this.
Do you want to? Do you want to get a camera down and like show your tattoo?
Yeah. Why don't
Can
we
you do that?
Yeah, here you go.
let me grab this
So,
back.
do you guys remember the show that had the tiny? I believe it was Parks and Recreation,
Yeah, little
where they had
Sebastian.
Little Sebastian.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, Little Sebastian.
Little Sebastian.
All right, we're gonna switch cameras here. Find your
Let me get
live.
set up. There we
Oh,
go.
never mind. Zoop, 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 zoop. Gotcha.
Bye.
So, for those that don't know, what is new? What's been added? What's the pop? What's going on? What's
So
Describe
I
what
mean,
happened.
before this last session, there was no glow at all in the green that's here, or like the green, the warm colors. There was no warm colors. There was no glowing green in there. This whole back of the arm, let's see, it's kind of exposed. There you go. This whole back was basically not done at all. So
Nice.
that's a fresh layer of paint.
so you had an itty bitty little baby
And so
tattoo session, like it
Just
was
did
barely
that
any
this one.
time. You just kind of hung out for like what, hour and just bounced.
hung
you know?
out for just a short 6-7 hour session.
No, it's beautiful, and adding that depth of color just changes the entire piece, man. Like
Yeah, I'm super stoked. I love, you get so used to it, and I've been kind of a
Starting to
bad
feel
client
warm
about
and
it. Like this
bumpy.
area right here, I love that. Just how it breaks into everything that's
See your
coming
inner
underneath it.
panel. Will come out like this.
blends of colors are amazing.
Got that volcano there blasting.
I kind of feel dumb when I start talking about colors and stuff because I'm like, I don't know art words.
It's okay though.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, I love that inner
He's a wizard.
Tattooed wizard.
robot dinosaur sleeve.
Amazing.
Two more
Amazing,
sessions.
amazing, amazing.
2 more sessions for line work, nitpicky detail, shadows.
Nice.
A good layer of glaze.
It's nice to get it in when the homies are in.
Right. I'm probably gonna go out to him this next time, pump out a 2-day session.
Nice.
Yeah, he offered up a spot to work out there for a little while too. So probably go out there and work for a little bit.
Oh, you hate traveling. What do you mean?
I know. fuck
You
it.
don't even like to
I was like,
leave.
dude, why would you even bring it up? I don't like going anywhere.
gosh.
Why would you? How dare you?
The
No,
audacity.
super grateful.
would
Super
ya?
grateful. It's one of the beautiful things about the tattoo community and all of us being homies and shit. It's
Yeah,
cool. I love it. I
it
love being
makes it
able to
nice
travel
to
across
have-
country, have a place to work, have a homie to hang out with,
Home away from home.
get tattooed.
Home away from home.
Mhm.
That's always nice to travel to see somebody that you've known for like a long time. And you get there and there's just that instant fall right back into place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen you in 6 months, but let's pick up the last conversation we had and go right back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
And they're out there, they started their whole new thing and everything. So it's like then everyone that's like around's gonna be
Yeah.
like cool too. They're all gonna be cool people. That's who he surrounds himself with, or your homie.
I know your vibe.
Right. So it's like cool, whole new, set of friends.
Super. It's exciting.
It's a lot easier to experience a new place with somebody that you know a little bit too, because they're going to be like, you know what you'd enjoy around here.
Right.
Where like when you just roll into a city with a purpose, you don't even know where to
Explore,
start
Right.
exploring.
I was so thankful that I came out here and had Red Tree when I came here, because that's made it so easy to transition. I think it just would have been so much harder if I would have came to a smaller shop where I didn't really, it was maybe just a couple people in the shop or something, or if I didn't have a job and I moved.
Yeah.
I just think having you and everyone at the shop has been huge. So
Instant
you guys were
homies.
like instant homies,
Yeah.
right away.
It's weird to get that comfort in a work environment. Like I've worked so many places that just you're there for money.
Mhm.
That's it.
That's
So
one of
to
those
have
things
that
that-
home base is sweet.
We kind of
Mhm.
got to give Derb credit for that because he does such a good job selecting like the right kind of personalities that are going to get along and like encourage each other and motivate each other. I'm not going to say that there's no competition at Red Tree, but it's definitely like
It's
healthy
healthy.
competition.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
definitely
there's a
like,
drive. It's a different.
yeah, it's like, oh man, I see what you did there. I'm totally stealing that trick and using it Tuesday.
Well, I mean, I don't even work there, and to be included in the homie swing is really sweet. Like I know I did at one point, but like I was really just a maintenance guy, and I still get like the carte blanche treatment while I'm there. Like it's really nice. It's super cool. I always have that home base fam.
Bougie.
Yeah, it's a family. It's a family. Felt super welcome from the second I stepped into it.
It's hard to describe.
It's a great thing.
Yeah, everybody's growing. I've been watching
Yeah.
Brandon Sontag
doesn't
is one of
got
the
it? You should
artists
get
that
it.
works with us. He works in like full color,
Mhm.
like full saturated realism, and he's doing a lot of nature scenes and animal portraits and things like that. And it's really cool. I think over the last handful of months, I'm just seeing like growth. Like there are just a lot of things that I'm seeing in his work. Like his saturation is getting so much more, I don't want to say solid, but like he's able to achieve things so much more quickly and so much more solidly. And it's really cool just to like see that growth. Like there's just little subtle nuances in the way that he's working that I'm talking about, but like you can just see the confidence growing in him and in his work, and the colors just are starting to really pop and
Yeah.
real like he's really, I think, becoming comfortable with what he's doing and just kind of like pushing his own,
I
like the
know-
way he's tattooing further. And like he's really hitting a lot of home runs in his recent work. Not that he wasn't before, but it's just like
I really want to take a
over
look
the
at some
past,
of
like-
his recent work from the past few weeks, because I know he's just been like diving headfirst into like painting.
Yeah,
hardcore.
like the
that's
last
all we talk about every
probably-
time I see him. Anytime he's got his TV on, it's literally just like painting techniques and stuff from
Yep.
someone. I'm like, hell yeah. dude,
Yep.
you out
Now
there
that
doing
he's
it.
just like taking those painting tricks and just doing it with the tattoo needle, I'm just watching it, the confidence grow. And like over the past like maybe 3 or 4 months, there's been, like I said, it's subtle nuances to describe what the differences are, but you can just see his work is growing. Like he's getting really good, really, really fast. Like he was good to start with, but like he's definitely like before my eyes jumping up to the next level. And then Dante, now that Dante's got like a lot of large black and gray pieces finished, Dante's work is like really becoming a thing of his own. It like, yeah, he was a dark black and gray artist when he started, and he was good and he was solid. But now that he's got the freedom to take on these big projects and these clients are coming back in and they're getting things finished really quickly, it's really cool to see
Right.
like this storyteller type of tattooing that he's doing is evolving into a very distinctive, like his own way of telling visual stories. And it's, we talk about Red Tree a lot. We talk about the shop a lot. We talk about our team a lot, but like to specifically speak about any members of our team, those two are growing really fast, and I'm really proud of both of them.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
Boom.
Sorry.
Kudos to them.
Yeah.
In the best
Dante,
way.
Yeah.
Brandon, you guys are killing it. Keith's
Yep.
killing it. I love walking booth to booth. I
Yeah.
tell you what, I miss Nathan and Toby. That's for sure. And Rusty.
Yeah.
I miss
Yep.
I miss going booth to booth and hanging out with them and talking to them. But still, like, I love, walking. Everyone is so fucking good.
No
it's so
slouches.
it's literally, yeah. It's so
There's
awesome
no
going booth to
slouches.
booth.
Yep. It's cool to see a lot of the
And it's
things.
always inspiration to work harder for me. I'm
Mhm.
like, fuck yeah, you guys are out here killing it. I'm like, damn,
Same.
keeps me moving.
Right.
Yep. Corey's been crushing it too on like, she's been incorporating a lot of like sunsets and little landscapes and things. And it's really cool. Like several months ago, she was asking me a few questions about a project that she had coming up. And I'm like, just do it. Like,
Run it.
just do it. Like the way you've got it. Cause she had it all mocked up on her iPad and she was like, how do I do it? I was like, you did the thing work. Just do it.
Right.
So it's cool to see like she's doing it and she's growing and she's pushing it and trying new tricks and everything's healing beautifully and coming out nice. And
I just got a rose from her.
yeah,
Look great. Healed great.
Nice.
huge. And it was in a tricky little area of
Yeah, it's in my
the
belt
torso.
line.
Yeah.
It's in my belt line. It's exactly where my pants sat.
It's not like a horrible place to be tattooed, but it's a tricky place to heal.
It's a
Mhm.
tricky heal for sure. Those tattoo armor pads came in extremely handy.
Aren't
Nice.
they great?
Amazing. Plug, plug, plug.
Yeah.
I literally just tucked one in
Takes
my
a lot of friction
waistband,
off that.
and since it's absorbent and non-sticky, it just made it to where I just put that pad there and went on with my day. Didn't even
Yep, I really like
Nice.
the pads that we're talking about. They like look like puppy pee pads, but you unfold them and they're just these really soft, absorbent pads. But they're not like the little tiny chicken pads that we're used to that are like 3 inches by 6 inches or whatever.
Non-perforated
But
plastic
they're like
edges.
you can get the medium size that's like larger than a sheet of paper, and then there's like a larger size which I can cover the majority of an arm with, and then I'll wrap it up as if it's like a cast. So it's like got compression. I've used it on some of my clients for their back pieces. I don't know if you've ever gotten your back worked on or like a large area of your body and you have to cover it with something to go to bed so you don't stick to your sheets. Like no
Yeah.
matter what, you have to cover it. And then when
Sacrificing that old t-shirt.
no matter what, whether it's Sanoderm or whether it's saran wrap, when you unwrap it, you've got that like plasma, boogery, colored slime that kind of smells like a dirty sock. And it's, you know, if you've had a big tattoo,
many
you know
adjectives.
exactly what I'm
Went there.
talking about. I did go there.
You
You
went
know what I'm
there.
talking about.
Why you gotta bring up the dirty sock though? Like we all know.
The
We all talk
tattoos,
about
the
it.
tattoo funk. Have you ever been tattooed big enough that you could smell yourself? Like you could smell your own blood and
Like
plasma
plasma.
throughout the
Fun.
day?
Fun.
What?
The Lord was here.
This has just gotten
Wow.
uncouth.
Oh,
Yes.
shit, that's so gross.
Yes.
No.
We went from
Yes.
ponies to uncouth tattoo slime. Funk.
Mucosa at its finest.
Because it's sweat, it's plasma, it's blood, it's like all the bodily fluids that are weeping out of you. And I mean, it's just water, but like at the same time, it's all the bacteria of your natural biome that is in there and like getting funky. So anyways, the
I
cool
find
thing
all that
about the
funk to be
tattoo
very good
armor
for your
pads.
tattoo, though.
So the cool thing about the tattoo armor pads is when you unwrap it, it's like absorbed everything and locked it inside. So the soft side that touches you is still soft.
No drip finish.
No drip finish. No boogies, no scabbies, no stinky slimy.
All
I
the fun
really,
things.
really like these bandages.
All the fun
In
things
other
someone
words,
talks
I
about.
really, really like these bandages.
Are you
And-
getting paid for saying this yet?
No, but I really like them. We had Ed Livermore on. He was the collector that like suggested them and sent us sample packs. And
Yeah,
now
we-
we're carrying
We
them
haven't
at True
turned back
Tubes.
since. I use them here and there.
I love them. I'll like bandage my clients and then I'll send them with a few so they can rebandage them the next few days. And here's the other thing. Like I thought they were going to be expensive, but when Derb's like, we're carrying them, I was like, great, I'll definitely buy them. And then I go to buy them and the large ones, you're not going to believe how much they are, Ben. The large
it.
ones, are you ready?
Tell me.
On truetattoosupply.com, you can buy the large tattoo armor pads for $10 a pack and you get 10 of them. So it's
What?
$1 a bandage.
For the big sheets.
The big sheets. The little ones are $8 a pack.
Well, you know those big sheets
And you can cut
with
them.
appropriate scissors.
You can
make
cut
all
'em.
sizes of
Yeah.
bandages.
It's mediumly expensive.
And it's $1 a
A
bandage.
buck of bandages. is not-
ADW is more than that.
Is it? Isn't it
Yeah.
like $15 for a big old roll of Sanoderm?
No, it's way more than
Is
that.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Jordan's like,
pretty
no,
good at just
I try
like-
not to pay
I
attention.
try,
on
yeah,
how
I try
much
not to
money I
look at the
spend on
price.
these
Yeah,
things.
Yeah, no,
That's-
it's more
that's how-
expensive than that. Even
Is
the
it?
generics are way more than that.
I'm not dogging. I'm not dogging.
I'm
just
not dogging
here for-
either,
here for
but, like,
both and here for
it's-
none.
It's cool to find a product that like I fell in love with and was like, no matter what, I'm going to buy this and recommend it to my clients and use it on my clients. And then we start carrying it and it's only $1 a bandage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
That is
The
fantastic.
thing with the ADWs is that sometimes they're not applicable. There might be body hair in that area that it's on the fringes that it's not going to allow that to seal. Yeah, you're supposed to shave that down, but even little nubblies don't, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
there's like specifically in the belt line, there's no way I would want to lick them, stick them on there. Like that would have
Right.
just been pulley, ouchie, ow, ow all the time. So like,
But with these, you don't have to worry about adhesive at all. Like I
yeah,
said,
that's my point.
I'll
You just
I'll
lay
wrap it.
on.
Sometimes I don't use any tape and I'll use the Coflex, like the stretchy tattoo tape
Mhm,
that we
mhm,
have. And I just like, I don't wrap it real tight, but I wrap it all the way up. So it's like a little bit of
So
compression and
What's the trick to not over wrapping something too tight? Because I've seen guys like pull the tape out and just. and
so
have
what
that
I
super
usually
tension.
do is
I
I
don't know.
pull it out and
Common
then I
sense.
wrap it with almost no tension. I want
See,
almost no tension.
Don't cut off the circulation of veins by going
But
too tight.
you forget common sense isn't that common
Are you an artist though? If you make it to the point of tattoo artisting,
anymore. Really, bro.
Yeah,
tattoo
right.
artisting.
We all know some artists, probably could use that advice.
Fair
Not
enough.
everyone is at the level you are, Jack. You gotta remember.
I'm just talking about tightening a
You know-
thing too tight.
Bro.
This seems like
He
Yeah.
wrapped a wrap too
Have
tight.
Right.
you ever
just-
used medical tape and like, oh my, I'm gonna, and then you just roll it from the roll, and now all of a sudden your finger's purple?
I have done that.
Yeah. See, like,
I
if you've
understand.
never done that to another person, you might not think that keeping the tension on that is making their hand go numb.
So while we're talking
So
about
when you
this,
leave the shop, they immediately cut the band-aid off. 'Cause
one
I've
thing
done
I like
that.
to do while we're on the topic of not wrapping too tight with the arms, I feel like it's so much easier because it's easy to manipulate an arm and move a person. So when I'm wrapping somebody's legs, usually I have them stand so they're putting their weight on their
Right.
leg. Like if I'm doing like a lower leg, I'm gonna go from the foot. I'll wrap from the usually I like use the foot as my anchor if it's anywhere on the lower leg. So I'll wrap around the foot and then up. But while they're standing, like gravity is pulling blood and fluids there, they're actually applying pressure and weight. So it's a lot easier to get a bandage taut, but not too tight. Where if I
Mhm.
wrap somebody tight while they're sitting down and then they stand up
and
and
it
then their
pops.
muscles
Yep.
swell because there's fluid and blood going to them, and then just the act of bearing weight is going to change the shape of the muscles in the leg. So that's one thing, like while we're on the topic of not wrapping too tightly, I think sometimes it's not the most convenient, but I'll have them stand while I wrap, and then I'll like scoot my stool over after I've wrapped the lower foot. I'll scoot my stool over and then put that under them, and then I can continue up if I need
Right.
to, or if I need to like wrap around the knee and make sure they've got room to bend. It's really, a lot of times it's really helpful to do it while they're standing up. It's
Makes
not
sense.
the easiest. I'm crawling on the floor like an idiot, but I do that for my clients a lot. I don't know.
Fair.
Have you seen me when I'm like doing marker drawings on people's legs?
Yes.
I'll be like half upside down, like
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, I know. Legs are a hard one. Legs are a hard one because you either got to get really low or you got to have them stand on something, and either or you're still kind of going upside down sometimes.
Mhm.
Getting all weird.
I was drawing on our buddy Sam out in the garage one day. We were just like hanging out there, and I happened to have him taking the markers down with me, and I was like just brainstorming on him, and I was like, you know what, let me just keep doing this. So he's got this photo or video that he took of me where he like snuck between his legs and got a picture of me like literally laying belly on the garage floor of the studio while I'm just like noodling around on his ankle and like the underside of his knee, and just like making sure everything flowed. And ironically, like the challenge was I'm tying from like my bio into Adam's bio, where I'm like, I guess, pulling off of Adam's bio and building my own thing on Sam. So it's kind of a cool challenge. But
Gotta
like
make it fun.
I'm laying there and I'm like looking at Sam's ankle, and it's like, man, okay, what was Adam imagining coming off of this? And then what can I turn that into? So it's like, even though I had the freedom to do whatever, I had to like
Did you think
pull it off
right?
in a convincing way.
Just FaceTime Adam, be like, okay, bro. So what was going on here, and what?
I mean, I feel like it was pretty
Let's mentally
successful.
collaborate.
There's like a 8-inch area of the ankle where I can't even tell you what I tattooed and what Adam tattooed. So it feels pretty. I feel like I blended mine and his really well together.
Seamless.
Like I think the upper half is definitely more me. For sure, and the foot is definitely Adam's robo foot, but the like area where everything's coming together, I can't even tell myself which, like I'd have to look at pictures to remember for sure what Adam tattooed and what I added. But that was
That's
our
crazy.
goal. You'll have to, next time you see Sam, you'll have to look and see. I think we got one more session to go on that.
He
and
actually
I'll be
messaged
sure to
me
share it.
yesterday, and it was the middle of my day, and I forgot to text him back, and now I feel like a jerk.
I
I'm
know,
that guy,
I
though.
did that to you the other day too. I felt like a jerk. as
C'est
well.
la vie. Such is life.
Jordan, you've been busy lately.
Yeah, yeah.
What's been going on?
Moving.
What's that mean?
Moving. New studio,
About to dip
podcast
out the
place is moving.
mothership.
New mothership.
Literally moving 1 mile down the road.
Are we gonna call it MS2?
MS2. Yeah, I like that. The mothership. Number two. Yep. Should work out great. It's a bigger space. It's a little cozier.
Cozier.
I like it.
Cozier.
Bigger, cozier.
Big and cozy. I like both of those words, but generally mean the opposite.
And
If you
Jordan's
tell me there's
excited
a-
to have a
If you
living
tell
room
me there's
again.
It's cozy, right?
Cozy
Means it's
cottage
tiny.
somewhere. We're gonna be touching each other. I will be able to hear you at all times.
No,
That's what you
large
said.
art space, large living room, large podcast room. Podcast room is about the same size as this room,
Mhm.
and that's like the dining room, and then that's between the kitchen and the living room.
You got no food space.
No food.
No food space. Nope. That turns it's
You-
digital media space.
You get to
Sacrifice.
eat in the kitchen.
Sacrifices.
Well, we appreciate it.
Ate in the goddamn living room.
I see it on the floor. I'm crying. Like what I want.
No, yeah. No eating space, but
It's okay.
podcast digital space. We got careers.
we got
stuff we gotta get
things
done.
to do. We're hitting episode 50.
Right.
When Emily's on her conference calls and stuff, she's gonna look so bougie with all like the electronics.
Right.
It's like
Hi.
alien stuff all around her.
My media room.
Yeah, it's appropriate for what she does. I mean,
Mhm.
I feel.
Right.
Just set her up. a
She
mic.
already sets up there with the giant Alex Gray background behind her. So
Nice.
there's like a baby inside of a skull, inside of like a fucking godhead thing. And she's always saying like her coworkers are like, "What's behind you?" It's like, no, it's just
Perfection on paper.
Have you heard of this guy named Alex Gray?
Wall-sized banner.
I don't know if you know of this super famous guy, but
Mhm.
it's been on like lots of album covers.
It's kind of really famous. You should probably know who he is.
Maybe want to Google.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Don't ask me. Google it.
Did I ever
I
tell
should
you?
have already known.
Do you want the correct information, or do you want me to guess at it for you? Because Google will tell you what's up.
I was actually pretty proud of my younger sister. She's not into like alternative or rock music per se. She's definitely more into like R&B and rap. But she one day is like, "Have you heard of this guy named Alex Gray?" And I was like, "Yeah, Sarah,
I mean,
duh, like
Nah.
who hasn't?" But she goes further, and I get to thinking about it, and it's like, you know what? I think you're the first person who has ever like just randomly discovered Alex Gray, and it wasn't through Tool's album art.
Right.
I mean, most people that I know of that know Alex Gray, that's where they heard of him. I think that's how I discovered Alex Gray. I
Mhm.
mean, I was really, really
Yeah,
young.
no, really, most people.
You know what I
did.
mean?
Like that's kind of like where he really took off and got his fame was
Yeah.
from.
But
from
she
Tool.
discovered him like on her own, and like the works that she's into are more the ones that are more like the evolution of life, like the one where the mother's actually giving birth and like the fetus inside the skull. Like those are the things that pull her trigger, where like I get into like the tapestries that are like behind Ben with the faces
Right,
going
the
on
more
into
like
eternity.
Godhead fractal stuff.
That's more how my own imagination works, is more like that like kaleidoscope or fractal that just connects and never ends. Like that's more
Go
what
back
my
to the
mind's
bed.
eye sees.
I have a buddy that's in a pretty prominent local
Alex.
band. Step up a whole notch with me, Bubba.
Your echelon just
I
rose a
do
little.
believe I might intellectually click with you.
It's funny. It's funny how little of a world it is when we start talking about art, especially like if you talk to somebody like Marty. If you really get talking to Marty about art, he'll start talking about people he knows. One night we're talking and he's like, da, 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 I got Norman Rockwell's mall stick. I was like, hold on. You have what? He's like, oh yeah, Norman Rockwell. I've got one of his mall sticks. Like that he actually
That's awesome.
Marty. And then he starts rattling off these other, like, I'm gonna call them artifacts. And he's just like, "Yeah." But like
Just
back
things
in
I
the
got.
day, you know what it's like within the tattoo community. Like there are people that we look up to that seem like they're unapproachable, unmeetable, unattainable. And then like a few
Right.
years later, like we're hanging out with them and brainstorming with them and like, what do you think of this?
Right.
And
While
like-
we're still close to the subject on Alex Gray, did I tell you that I got the chance to actually sit down and meet him?
You know
before
what?
and
I
talk
feel
to
like
him.
we should use this opportunity to talk about your trip to go hang out with Alex Gray because I'm kind of jelly. I need to make a trip over to Cosm myself.
Oh my god, I
Tell
want to
me
go.
about
I
it.
want to go back there now because now they've created they got Entheon. I don't know if you can go inside of it yet, but it literally is just a next level building. The entire building's just got like crazy faces like that around the outside, like one coming out the very top of it. It's just like a
The steeplehead.
fucking church.
So you're saying I'm gonna be scared?
No.
It is. It's gonna be wild. I don't know if
No,
it's
I think
open
it'll
yet.
be the total opposite. Like I feel like if from the pictures and videos I've seen of the construction of this place, and I've been following it for years, they've been building it. But I feel like you're gonna walk into it
10
and you're
years
gonna be
ago, they
like,
were doing it.
this is what a church is supposed to be like. This is what a place of worship and reflection is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be stimulating and eye-opening, not training.
Right. It's all like layers of the human body and like
Yeah, not like obey,
No, I
obey,
ain't mad at it. It was
scary,
just a great-
crucifixion.
do this, or my dad will get you.
right.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
A
No,
different kind
I
of
feel that.
sacred. I think it's going to have that
vision,
a different kind
vision.
of sacred
I feel
vibe.
like it's like visionary without being like this is what God is. This is what like spirit is and all that. It's just a great interpretation of like the feelings we all have towards all these things. And then when you start taking, put mystical experiences into that, when you start doing out of body experiences and psychedelics and things like that, some of these things start to explain those things a lot better. And there's something it's touching.
The whole point of art is to inspire thought, right? Like to give you an emotion, to give you and that's any kind of art, right? So like to have a place where it is that amplified and designed to almost multi-sensual. Do you know what I mean? Like you walk into a room that's designed to have that.
Right.
feel,
That threshold is
that.
designed to change the way you're feeling completely.
Right.
I bet the whole place smells like Palo Santo.
I
don't know
bet.
what
I
that
bet it
means.
smells
That
like
wood, it's a delicious smelling wood when you burn it.
Oh, tell me more about this.
It's a very, I don't know, fragrant,
I bet it-
aromatic wood. I have some.
I
at home.
imagine like
When we get back to my house, I'll show
I
you some.
imagine like a vanilla neg champa.
Oh, that's a pretty good way to describe Palo Santo.
Fair.
It's like it's earthier than nog. It's not quite as like perfumey fragrant. Like it's wood,
Yeah.
but it's
So when I
very
want my house
warm.
to
It's
smell
very
good,
clean smelling.
I grab the aerosol can that says gets the stench out and go.
I hear that those things are full of toxins.
And I breathe deep. Go for a ride. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm not too hip to the.
I'm gonna have to hip you to nog. Have you ever gotten in my van and it didn't smell like weed? If it
No.
smelled like something else,
I
it
love
was
neg
nog.
champa. I love neg
If we're
champa.
getting
That's my
in your
favorite.
van, generally we're getting ready to smoke. So like
That's fair.
we instantly.
That's fair. Only when it's parked off public roads.
Oh yeah, it's a camp vehicle at that point.
It is.
Like,
It's got a futon.
we don't even get in the front seats.
That is true.
That
is
you want to
very
be real.
true.
We generally just sit in the captain's seats in the back.
While we were playing by the pond, I had it opened up yesterday, and it was like we were just like dangling our feet off of it, and that's when we were rolling
Nice.
and smoking.
But back on the Cosm train, just to get that over with. I bet if you went out there and you spent a day or two out going there, you'd probably meet them and talk to them too. Like they're super personable. You go out there, there's not a fuck ton of people there. It's like
Because
it's
kind of off the beaten
yeah.
path.
I mean, it's like way out in the country in New York. It's nowhere near the city or anything like that. It's hours out. But yeah, so I went
we
there.
should
with a couple
make it a
people
point.
and,
Maybe we should reach out and schedule a trip once we kind of like polish our skills, jumping in and doing like appearances in other people's studios and other events.
they do a
Once
podcast.
we
Maybe
get that-
we can get on there to talk to them about
Once we get that brushed up, we should make that happen. We should reach out.
communicate with them.
Hello
You
from
never
Columbus.
know. You never know. They might be down for something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Alex will remember me, which I doubt, but
You never know, man. It's weird how you stick in people's brains sometimes.
Right. So like the thing with so there's I met him a couple times that night when it was a full moon gathering that they were doing. So there was a couple, like right away as soon as he came into the building, because his house, it's kind of like Guy's house, except like the tattoo studio would be a mansion that is the his full gallery that he had.
Mhm.
And so then he lives right next door to it, kind of just half a mile away. And so he came in, pretty much met him right off the bat. There was only like 5 or 6 other people in the room when he walked in with his wife, and instantly his wife came right up to us and talked to us and stuff. And then he went,
Allison.
did his own thing, and then like came back, talked to, came up to her while she was talking to us, and she brought us upstairs in the gallery to show her all her artwork. So it's just like
Nice.
me and like one of my friends that came with me. And so, and
Do you want to
Allison,
describe what Allison's work is like, or should I describe it?
I mean, it sounds like you want to describe
So
it.
it's basically, if you're not familiar with Allison Gray's work, it's basically like this alien language that was given to her through some spiritual chemical journeys.
Right. Very. So
You see a lot of
so high
tiles.
chroma,
Yep, you
like,
see a lot of tiles and tessellations, but like all the shapes and all the random like language that you see there, it's just like a language that was given to her through LSD, I believe.
yeah,
Is it
she had
something
all sorts of cool
interpretable?
art that I've never seen before. It just sounded
Not by us.
she wanted to
Right.
show us all her art, because before we go into Alex Gray's art, she's like, you got to come see my stuff, because it's upstairs, it's kind of gated off, you can't really go up there unless they bring you up there or
Mhm.
something.
Rad.
So she just brought me and my buddy Keller up there. We went, did all that. So that was fun. Went and talked to Alex again. And throughout the night he was there. And then there was like a dinner. It was gonna be like a nice chef dinner and stuff. And so we go out into the kitchen when it was dinner time. And there's probably like 30 people there and a bunch of circle tables. And at my table, Alex, Allison, their bodyguard, this guy, James Carmen, who was making a UFO documentary at the time. And it's just been doing all this UFO research and talking to like abductees and like people who've been seeing UFOs for like years. I guess he's talked to like thousands of people. I didn't know any of this, but I seen the movie like 2 weeks ago that he made.
Crazy.
They're called The Hidden Hand. And so it's me and my buddy Keller and Alex Gray and them sitting at the same table. We're about to eat a super dank meal with all them. We're eating and doing all that. And I'm sitting there. We just get into conversation. I'm talking to James. I don't really know Alex. I'm starstruck. I don't really, he's kind of it was hard to talk to, but he was right there, so I'm doing what I can. But then I realized this James Carmen dude, he's talking to me, and I realized that he was talking about the movie he made, The Hidden Hand. And so I'm like, oh man, I've seen a lot of UFOs. Like, that gives me something to talk about with him. So I'm sitting there, I start telling him about experiences, and he starts getting super interested in it. He's just asking me all sorts of questions. I'm telling him every experience I pretty much have right there. Alex and Allison are just locked into it. And
That's
I'm just
crazy.
like, oh my God, I get to tell them all about these experiences. And at this time in my life, like I've probably told you guys, I went through a period of my life where I've seen a lot of them. Like
Mhm.
literally all the fucking time for years I would see them. And then it just kind of stopped because I moved into a city, I think, and I stopped paying attention to the sky as much. I don't know. But so this was after that. So I had all these experiences to talk about with them. And then so Alex was just asking some questions here and there. And the James Carmen dude was just like prying into me about it all and
He
telling
has
me
a
all
frame
sorts of crazy
reference.
stuff.
Yeah, he's a frame of reference. If he's talked to thousands of people that have had similar experiences, he's trying to connect dots. So he's fill in the blanks. Which kind of experience did
So
you
it was
have?
making it like a spiritual experience for me. Being there and the whole thing, and like at that point in my life, like going there was a spiritual experience. The trek I made to that, and I was going to go there for a full full moon ceremony and like just come out a new person. And then going there and being able to like talk in depth about one of the people I look up to the most,
Yeah.
like in depth about one of the most meaningful things that's ever happened to me in my life that I got no fucking answers for. I have no idea, but literally the most crazy mystical thing I can imagine. And it really happened. And like, I can tell the story to people and they can be like, oh, cool. But then to actually have these people hear me out. And then you got James Carmen, who's like, he's like, yeah, I know they're real. We see them all the fucking time. I've seen them with people. We take videos of them. And like, I've talked to thousands of people who had the same.
When you hear it as like
And I'm
matter
like-
of fact,
and I'm
like,
like-
oh no, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're like,
no,
cool,
yeah.
someone who understands because you've seen it. Like
Yeah.
as soon as you see them all the time, it's like, oh, cool. It's a thing up there. But it's still, that was cool. That was cool.
That was
And I got to fire spin that night too.
Nice.
That was awesome. Yep, took some acid that night. They had a DJ. It was fun watching Alex Gray was just getting down. He's like dancing. He's got this big old like African security guard dude, this huge dude, super nice. He's awesome to sit and talk to. And so he's just in the back watching everything. And Alex is just like going ham on the dance floor. And he's just this old guy, gray hair, skinny dude, tall
Having a
as,
good time.
tall as
Not a
fuck.
care in the
Tall
world.
as fuck. He's like
Woke
6',
as it
yeah, like
gets.
6'4",
As woke
6'5".
as it gets. Perpetuating.
But that was the height of all that experience. That dinner was
Nice.
really cool.
Nice.
I'd love to go over there.
Sounds like you got a reason to now.
I mean, I've always had a reason.
That's the most positive
it's one
review
of
I've
those,
ever
like,
heard.
there's 1,000 things I want to do, but actually getting motivated and planning it out when it's not work related is tricky.
He's got like a couple mile trail that goes around all the way around his place.
Oops.
And so on that trail, they found it, or like him and tons of other artists just designed all sorts of cool shit that they threw out there. And like,
Nice.
like ruins of old buildings that are just totally Alex grayed out that you would never see anywhere except for if you're out there. Big
Nice.
old Chris Dyer paintings and other artist paintings and trees that look all crazy and mystical, little fairies everywhere and just little cool shit. Imagine if you were tripping out there, you just run into the randomest things like you
And-
just never see if you weren't tripping.
One of the things, like, if and when I do play with chemistry, I always like to set myself up for like safety. You know what I mean? I don't want to set myself up to have a bad trip. And that kind of place is probably the safest place in the universe to just really get in
Let
touch with
loose.
the other realm. Like whatever substance you're using to get there, or even if you're just using meditation and breath work to get there, like whatever it is
Oh my God, 100%.
that you're using to get in touch with that other realm, that's probably an
I'm gonna be
incredibly safe
completely
place
honest.
to
I'm
do
gonna be
it.
100%
Like
honest.
it's probably a freak out free zone.
So I was tripping fucking balls. And I'm standing in front of like the sacred mirror paintings and all the other paintings, and I'm looking at these like versions of like, you know, the human body way taller than me, just literally trancing out so hard to it.
Just God.
Just oh my, it's the greatest.
He's in the sauce.
No, it was like it's so crazy. Like I remember at that time I like just realizing how nuts it is to see paint like artists like that who really spend every day of their lives on their paintings like that, where that is everything is. So you see them in pictures and they're like this big, you know, in a book or something. You go there, you realize these paintings are 10, 15 feet tall and they're huge, and you just see all these little brush strokes, so much little detail you would never see. And so like the amount of vibration you get off that, and I'm just tripping looking at all of it, just taking it in, and it just inspired me so much as an artist. It's just
Depth. It's
like something you would never see unless you were there in person. You'd never be able to get that off a picture online, a picture anywhere. Seeing that in person like that is an experience that like just like deeply feeling a painting at that level.
And then to be on acid when you're like hyper
the nature of
focused
the
on
painting,
every
too.
brush stroke as well as the story being told, like that'd be a cool way to experience it.
Because when they're there for the intention of that as well, it's like it's just you connect with it on a whole other level, and you see someone who's putting their entire consciousness, their whole life, everything about their mind into every stroke that is. Dedication, commitment to the other
it
dimension.
just leaked out onto the canvas. I don't know. Other dimension just
Right.
leaked out.
I woke up, it was like this.
So him and HR Geiger, I think, are my two, like, you know, if I had to put like top role models up there, top artists for me, those would be top inspirations.
Mhm.
There's so many more artists I love, so many out there, but they still, to me, like, really stand out. They fucking they lived it. They lived their art
Mhm.
fully. I respect that. Where they just let it encompass their whole life, where they just design their life around it.
That's how Dali was. Salvador Dali is one of my
Yeah.
favorites. And I mean, I know everybody knows Dali, but like the reason is he was crazy. That man was marching to the beat of his own drum. And like talk about like being immersed in art. Like he was always making all these crazy films. He was always like writing books, like weird books on his philosophies. Like he's got a whole book where he breaks down his own creative process to where, like, for instance, there's a part. I need to find said book, but Russ was telling me about this, that he designs or describes how he's laid out his whole creative space. And in this creative space, he's got like this comfy favorite chair. And on the floor by that comfy favorite chair, he's got a plate. And when he sits down, like a dinner plate, like a glass plate, and when he sits down to like daydream or like think or work on the next project, he like deliberately like starts to fall asleep. And his theory is that if you start to fall asleep and you wake yourself up at the moment that you were falling asleep, you've got that dream and that creativity to like that moment of dream to work with. Like whatever that scene was, you're going to wake up in the middle of it and you're going to remember it and you're going to be able to recreate it. So while he's sitting in that chair drifting off, he's got a key in his hand, and as you drift off, you drop the key hits the plate wakes you up. You now interpret what you saw in that moment.
That's really cool. I relate to that big time. That's so cool because, like, I don't know, sometimes, you know, when I'm going to sleep and the way a dream will come about and the way I can see a dream come about behind my eyelids in that point right before you fall asleep, and you just hit that like hypnagogic stage where you almost feel like you're falling, but you're caught between that.
That's where he was pulling the inspiration for his surreal work from. That was the moment.
Do you ever do you ever like focus on when that's happening and just see picture come in like to view? Because for me, I'll do that and then I'll see like, you know, color splotches or something like that. It'll get more and more intense, and the more I fall out of my mind but I'm still conscious, those color splotches will start turning into something almost like I'm looking at a cloud. So it's like it could be like a tiger, or all of a sudden I'm seeing like a horizon line. Maybe it starts to look like, oh, sun, like horizon line. Then I see space and I can see depth, and then like you could see like path, or you can start to see things just start to populate your vision until you're like fully in the dream and fully in it like that. But I've never like sat and like I'll try to like build and do a little bit like that, but I've never spent the time to really fall into that. Like it sounds like Salvador Dali probably did in that process right there, where he is just building it and starting to see it and taking advantage of it. I kind of just like get lost in it a little bit, but I've never really, I feel like
You've
it's
never
something
made
I pull
yourself
from.
wake up and use it in the moment inspiration.
Right. It's something I'll play with when it's happening, and I love it because then I'll either wake up or I'll fall asleep, or I'll wake back up and I'll be like, God, that was fucking cool. Because I just totally seen shit behind my eyes and went from my normal brain into that. And to me, that's like going into a lucid dream. The more I follow that, the more I'll get into it. But it's like I can get to a certain point, fall asleep, or get to a certain point, then lucid dream. It's like, how much effort do I want to put into it mentally when I'm there to be there?
I get stuck.
If that any of that makes sense. If you
No,
guys
it
ever
totally
gone
makes
through
sense.
that.
No, that's
really weird.
That sounds
I
normal.
mean,
That sounds like
I
what
think-
it's supposed to sound like when you're drifting into that dream state. Is you drift from like conscious to unconscious. Like that's, from what I hear, that's how it's supposed to work. So it happens for me. What really, and like the more stress I have in my life, the more this happens. But weed seems to really counter it a lot. But I'll actually get stuck in that brief window and be fully awake and fully aware, and my brain is moving so fast and so much is going on, and I'm seeing it visually, and like there is so much stimulation that now I can't actually fall asleep because I've drifted into this while I'm still conscious and not asleep yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's cool,
I can
but it's kind of weird.
I
But
can
it's a
I
lot.
can imagine.
It's a lot. It's really a lot. So that's that you described my insomnia. So imagine it like that few minutes that you experience as you're just drifting, and then that moment as the dream like starts.
You get
Imagine
stuck in it.
staying conscious there, and then it gets more intense and more energy gets drawn in, and then like whatever was on your mind throughout the day gets drawn in, and you actually start playing out full scenarios. While these scenarios are playing out, you've got a layer of like kaleidoscopes, but this kaleidoscope isn't just kaleidoscopes of color. It's actually kaleidoscopes of paisleys, and those paisleys are each their own fractal.
Not to
That's
get
a
too
lot.
too
You know what's
fast.
really
That's
funny
a
is
lot.
I relate to that fully. I feel like I experienced somewhat the same thing, and I go back and forth from it being something like that where it becomes anxiety, and then something where it becomes like, you know, something I drift off, or it becomes a more playful thing.
Mhm.
I like it when it's more playful. I feel like when my mind's more centered, it stays more playful. But
Yeah.
I'm prone to anxiety. So
I
my
mean,
mind
sometimes
can go
all it
off like
takes is
that.
just hearing something bad that somebody else is going through. And then you start thinking, man, what if that were me? Or man, I'm thankful that's not me. Or man, how bad that must be for them. You just start running through all the scenarios that make it apply to you in your life. And it's just weird to have that much information in front of like multiple lenses in my brain all at the same time. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like I've never hated it per se, other
Objectively-
than I kind of feel like a zombie when I
right.
don't like
So
I can't fall
objectively,
asleep
it's
until I'm
really dope.
exhausted.
Objectively, it's super cool the fact that we can just create like cool visions in front of our eyes like that. I think, but I think, you know,
Yeah.
experiencing it can be cause
It's kind
insomnia.
of magic to be in touch with it. Like, I don't
I
think
think
a
it's
lot
like
of people
one of the
have
most
the
magical
ability
things of
to
life.
be in touch with it. Now, if I get super baked right before I go to bed, which I usually do, then I'm not locked in it. Flip side, I'm not remembering my dreams. I'm not remembering as much, but like I'm actually getting a little bit more restful sleep in that first 3 or 4 hours
Yeah.
after I lay down. But I don't know. It's like I don't have night terrors or anything. It's more like just mega information download from
Yeah.
the aliens.
Yeah. I feel it. I feel it.
Mega info download from the
From
aliens.
the aliens. And do you ever hear those theories where they say that when your ears are ringing, you're actually downloading information from the universe or whatever it is? Have you ever heard that?
No.
Those higher
No, but I like it.
You
I
like that idea?
I like that idea. I can roll with it. It will make it feel much more positive when it happens.
Yeah,
The placebo effect.
I like it.
Like be a good placebo.
You look like you're in thought, Ben.
Nah.
Dreams are weird.
Yeah.
Dreams are super weird.
Yeah. There's a weird tap to the subconscious through dreams that a lot of people don't realize. And it's like, I don't know. It's super weird for me. Like if I remember a dream, it generally freaks me out. So I'm like, uh-oh. Like,
Right. It's
something's about to go wonky.
That
You know
was
what's-
awfully real.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of dreams, this is fucking crazy because it was like probably a week before it happened on the Jeep. I even told Emily, I'm like, man, I had the weirdest dream last night that like the brakes went out on the Jeep and like I just kept pushing the brake and there was no brakes. And like I was like hit the back of this girl's car and stuff. And she started freaking out and like, wanted to shoot me and like fucking doing all this shit. And I'm like, bitch, calm down. Like all that. It's just total like anxiety dream about like a dumb situation like that, just not being able to like hit the brake and like the brakes went out on it.
Cut
And then
two.
literally a week later, the brakes completely went out on the Jeep.
The ironic thing is he was taking the Jeep to the shop for something totally unrelated.
So
and
it luckily happened on the way to the shop. And yeah,
like in the parking lot.
he was like,
at
you
the
have
shop.
no brakes. I was like, they're kind of squishy. He's like, no, you have no brakes. I'm like,
It was kinda squishy.
That's
It's like,
weird.
would need an
I thought
adjustment.
they're spongy. He's like, no, it hits the ground. I'm like,
The floor is the
I had a
sponge.
little sponge.
That's where you just say, thank you, universe.
No, for real. That could have ended. I can't believe it was 20 minutes away. I drove to with it like that. It must have like really popped right when that last thing.
Sorry, Jordan.
No, don't apologize, dude. It's all good.
For those that don't know,
Thanks, universe.
Jordan was driving the 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee that I sold him. So yeah,
It's all right. It's an old baby. I like her, but she's about to hit the grave here soon.
yeah, she's old.
It's okay, but I love her. I love her, man. It's hard.
She
It's
trucks for
hard.
a
I'm gonna
minute.
cry when she's gone.
You and me both. I passed it to a homie so I could watch her.
No worries, man. No worries at all. Couldn't believe that happened. I couldn't believe I had the dream. That happened.
That's where you just go, thanks, universe.
Mhm.
Thanks, universe. It's funny. I've been talking about getting the van in because it's just due for an oil change. There's nothing wrong with it. But yesterday, the blower motor went out in it. It's only had 2 settings since I bought the van, so like I knew it
Word.
was a matter of time on the motor since I bought it on the
My
actual
car's needed
AC
an oil
motor.
change for about a month now.
But the back blower motor works like a champ. I got a whole second fan for the back of the van.
So
So
if you sit in the back,
yeah, if you
while
sit in the back, you're
drive,
cool.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
Literally.
But yeah, it's a funny thing with vehicles. It's like
Vehicles and the subconscious.
The
it's,
subconscious.
I ever since I was a little kid, I feel like vehicles have a spirit, and I know they're just a mechanical thing that was put together by a handful of people and whatever.
What do you mean?
But-
You just know?
I swear.
I think they have a spirit.
I swear.
I think they
do.
all live and
I swear they
feeling
do.
mechanical beings.
You guys have never seen Cars? Come
You
on.
like-
Come on.
Do you remember
Cars
the
is
old?
my life.
You gotta
Do you
turn
remember
left to
the
go
old? I
right
think it was like the
sometimes.
Valvoline commercials that were like the Wallet and Gromit style animation,
Oh
where
my
the
God,
bumpers had
yeah.
the big googly
Yeah,
teeth and
yeah.
the windshields were the eyeballs. Like
Wallace
that
and
was
Gromit.
Cars pre-Cars.
Pre-Cars.
I still look at cars like that.
Yeah.
Like some of the modern cars you can't imagine in the same way because they're all designed to look like a shark, which is fine. It's
I still
fine.
want to get
Cars
eyeballs.
can look like sharks and frogs. That's
I want
cool.
the car's eyeballs for a window shield. You know what I'm talking about? Like the sun reflectors that you can put in your front windshield.
Mhm.
I want them with the car googly eyes. Always.
That's
wanted-
awesome.
Always wanted to do that.
Nice.
What if we just like put a real thin white line on and made it look like the caddy had eyes?
I don't know if I'd be
Give
okay
the
with
caddy
that.
eyes
don't
a
think
little googly down there.
I don't think it'd be okay.
You know how on Ricky Bobby he sold the windshield?
I don't think that'd be okay.
You don't think anybody'd be cool with you driving around with like a perforated windshield?
Nah, probably not. Like I'm gonna guess A, illegal, and then B, illegal, and C, I don't need extra reasons to get pulled over.
That's fair. All of the above are fair.
Yeah, like I don't need extra reasons. When I recently purchased that bobber and it had Jack Daniels emblems all over it, I was like, we should probably cover these because I don't need extra reasons.
I don't need extra attention.
just
We don't.
not-
It doesn't need to be old number 7. It can be
no.
just black vinyl.
I'm gonna put some black vinyl and
Just
some
black
words.
vinyl.
Stretch a little.
What's it say
picture.
now? Mama tried.
Oh yeah, Mama tried or something along those lines. No, I put the classic tag on the back of it, and then put some mountain stickers over the old number 7s on the gas tank, and we'll whip it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll whip it. I don't need to advertise alcohol. And
You don't even
riding
really
a
drink.
motorcycle.
I mean, you're not a non-drinker,
I'm not a
but you're like a
non-drinker, but,
non-drinker.
if we're in public and I have more than 2, stop me. Like I'm not a social.
I
Like
think
don't-
it's funny when
yeah.
somebody like I'll say I'm a non-drinker, or like somebody will be out with me a few times and I'll order pop, and then we go out like a third or fourth time and I'll get like a Blue Moon or an Oberon, or
Right.
I'll get like Maker's Mark or a Woodford, and
Yeah,
they'll be like, I
having
thought
a
you
drink-
didn't drink. It's like, I mean, I'm not a drinker, but like
I don't want to be invited to an
I don't
event
get
where
drunk.
the premise is
I have
we're going
gotten
to consume alcohol. Now, if we're going to do something and alcohol is involved, that's a different ballgame. But if you're like, hey, let's get together and get smashed, I'm like, I'm old.
I never wake up in the mood to get drunk.
Never. Now, I've had one too many drinks multiple times. Don't get me wrong, but like, it's not a, I don't know.
It's
never
just a
been my
funny
jam.
thing when it's that energy where somebody thinks they're calling me out. Like, I thought you didn't drink. It's like, what? I mean,
No,
not
I
usually,
worked in
but
a
like
bar. And I
Yeah.
already
Yeah, I did that.
have lived that life and realized I don't
Yes,
like
my-
that Ben.
my
and that
liver
Ben
and
is
kidneys have
cool.
written enough letters to their senators.
Yes, I have paid my dues, my taxes, and overtime,
Yeah.
and they have earned their break.
My body's
Um,
like, thanks for not poisoning me twice a week.
Yeah, twice a week. I worked at a rock club where they gave you a discount if you bought 10 shots. You know what that meant? The extras that you didn't need ended up in the employees. You had to be able to hold your liquor to be able to work there. Like, I got my job because the owner came up to me and he was like, you drank a bit tonight. I was like, yeah, man, it's cool. Just give me a minute. Like, I'll wait it out. Like, I'll help you clean up. And he's like, no. You're fine. Like, we're not upset, but you handle yourself pretty well for the tab that I'm seeing. And I was like, yeah, do you want to work here? Like, that was the credentials.
Sir,
he
you have
needed.
an unbelievable drinking ability.
I do believe that you might be useful at this particular establishment.
So it's funny. I was actually just reflecting on how I became a bartender. There was a pool hall that I would hang out at, and like it happened to be in the same building as the tattoo shop that I hung out in all the time. So like once the shop would close up, we'd all walk around and we'd shoot pool and like hang out and whatever. And like I wasn't ever like sneaking alcohol, and I wasn't like I was clearly like in there staying sober all night until the
Right.
bar closed. And like, you know, you've been out with me. Like
Yeah.
I was raised in the kind of family where some people think this is weird, but like if we're out to eat, we stack our plates.
Yeah.
Like once we clear our plate, we'll stack our plate and put
Hospitable
it
and
on the edge of the
manners.
table just to make it easier for the server. Is it their job to clear the plate for us? Yes. But does it make the table more comfortable for me and the people I'm sitting with to consolidate and make elbow room?
Yeah.
Makes sense. But it's also good manners.
Mhm.
Or like when we're out at the bar, we'll not only take our drink back up to the bar, but we'll like
Clear
grab
your
other
area,
glasses
yeah.
and take glasses and cans. You know what I mean? Like just those things.
Well, that's essentially what he saw me doing and was like, "Hey, man, I'm just gonna wait it out." He's like, "No, like you're bringing,
I can tell you're helpful.
I'll pay you money."
But I was only 20, so I
Right.
wasn't old enough to drink, but like I got to know the bar owner and his wife really well, and her name was Deb. And it was like 3 weeks before my birthday, and she was like, "Hey, so like I've been watching you." And I was like,
Sometimes it
yeah. And she was like, "Do you want to work here when you turn 21?" I was like, "Sure." So like 21st birthday, I got the keys to the bar, and I pretty much ran the show in the daytime because they knew that I was an assistant manager in the paint department at Menards. I like worked at the bike shop and I worked at the sign shop. So like they knew me and like knew me from all the things that I did around town. And she was like, "I really want you to work for us." So like right off the rip, it wasn't because I was a drinker. It wasn't because I knew how to mix drinks, but like she just liked the way that I handled myself.
Right.
And, there were a lot of fights and things like that she like watched me diffuse just out of the like, I don't like drama around me. And if I can snuff it out before it even
Mhm.
turns into anything, I'm going to
Mhm.
like,
Roadhouse.
yeah. So
it's cool until it's not cool.
yeah. So long story short, I got roped into, I'm not going to say I was like, I mean, maybe you could call me like the daytime manager. That wasn't my official title. It was just a small bar, like a small pool hall with a small staff. But like during the day, it was me. And if the owners felt like coming in or needed to do anything, it'd be me until whoever else wandered in.
So
But
what I'm hearing is that we should challenge each other to a pool match.
you know that I am horrible compared to you.
Oh, whatever.
We've only played. Was it just the one time that we've played together?
We
I
played
wasn't
pool?
having a good day.
Yeah.
I was missing every shot.
See, I don't even remember how you played. I just wanted to talk smack. And
I
it
mean,
wasn't
it's fair.
It was all in fun.
I feel like I did make a couple magic jump shots.
Beautifully.
Those are Hail Marys. We need a pool table.
I have-
Jordan, can
I
we
have
put a
one.
pool table in your new house?
I have one.
No, I wish.
I have one.
I wish.
I have one. I have a hand pinstripe gold leaf fucking 7-foot leather drop pocket pool table that
We
I
need to
sold to
set it up.
someone that never paid me for it.
We need to
So I can go
set it up in
repo
my
it.
garage.
That's
We
We'd
could
have
do
to
that.
cut all of our cues down.
Yeah,
My
I don't know.
Yeah.
My
I don't know
garage is
if
little.
we're doing it. I want to do it right. There may be some space available.
in the appropriate space.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's crazy how much you learn like working in a bar.
Yeah.
And
pretty
then
much that
being like a non-drinker working in a bar.
lots
Like
of
I would
people that
drink, but
drink
not to get
alcohol
drunk.
all the time are sandpaper people.
What, they're abrasive? Is that a little
They just-
abrasive?
They kind of always just kind of rub you a little bit. Like,
The thing is when I go back up to Marion where I was bartending at the time, and I'll go up and I'll go to like the same pool hall isn't there anymore, but a few of the local bars are there. But to see like the same people that were going out every weekend when I was like 21, 22, 23,
still doing
and
it.
like, I mean, I was bartending, but I always had another job. I called it my grown-up job and bartending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same
Like,
sense. I had a day job.
it's crazy to see some of the people that like get stuck in that loop of drinking, and they think
Mhm.
that drinking is the only hobby, and we live in a small town, so they're the only thing to do here is to drink, and like the only way to meet people is to drink, and the only way to this is to drink,
It's
and
the
the
same with
only
the music industry.
it's
It's
just-
it's such a hand in hand. Like you need to go to a bar and have alcohol to watch a show, and it's like
I mean, there's
I don't need
alcohol there,
to
but I
have a good
don't
time.
feel tempted to drink it unless I just want whatever this thing is,
Right.
but it's the motivation isn't to get drunk.
Yeah.
I can't.
At one point in my life, it
Nope.
was.
Yeah.
And it's just like it got old. Like
I'll have social drinks once in a while now, but like literally, it's so hard for me to get drunk. It takes so much effort. I got drunk on this camping trip we did the other day, or like a couple weeks ago. I mean, that was fun.
that was
That was the first time I actually could get myself drunk because we were drinking all day,
right.
camping and just like
Nope.
on the river and shit.
Blech.
First time I've done that in years.
a few weeks ago, Killian Moon was in town and he and I went out for a few drinks. I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I was like, ugh, I feel still drunk. And then I look at what time it is and it's like, oh yeah, I am still drunk. And like, let me tell you, I drank 2 draft beers. It wasn't even like I had a lot. I am that much of a lightweight now.
Great.
Ben was over at my house. I offered him some whiskey and I poured some for myself and it was like the tiniest little, and he was like, really, Fawn?
Mm.
I just need a taste.
Just a way to
Like I should probably put a little glass thimble next to my whiskey. Like that's all I need. You know what? I'm gonna have 2 thimbles tonight.
What? Getting loose.
Take me 16 years to finish off my Blantons.
I don't really like to drink much, but I definitely can drink.
Do you think, let me ask you this. Do you think that in the years that you did drink, do you think that it affected your creativity?
100%.
How do you think it affected it?
I think I'm not creative when I'm drunk. I think it takes my attention away from my own mind. You know, I'm a lot more social, so I'm a lot more extroverted. I'm not as introverted. It's hard for me to, you know, just my attention span's so bad that I can't sit and like I can't draw.
Mhm.
I've never made the connection between art and alcohol. They've always been separate for me. I don't think I've ever really drawn one. I guess I've live painted and drank, but usually once I start drinking when I'm live painting, it's a downhill battle.
You
the
just
rest of the
start
night.
painting with water.
Right. Start painting with water. I just
Dipping your
start. I
brush
just
in your
start
cleaning
wanting
water.
my social skills. My social side of me starts kicking in, and I want to do that. My attention it's harder to keep that. I want to drop it and go do something else. So that's why I don't know. I don't like to do art and drink. I just never mix the two, and I don't feel like my art is as I don't know. Doesn't have the same thing. If I was to do it that way, I almost like don't trust it because I just haven't made that connection. Never
Fair.
tattooed and drank, so I've never wanted to ever do that. It's always been a big no. But I can drink. I mean, I can smoke. I can smoke literally as much weed as like my body can take and do all the normal things I do.
All of a sudden you have the focus and the clarity
Right.
and the peace of
Slow
mind.
down.
But I enjoy alcohol in a social situation, but I definitely don't drink to get drunk, and I don't like to be drunk, honestly.
Mhm.
You know, I like to be drunk in the rare instance once in a while where like I'm like, all right, well, cool, we're gonna get drunk today.
This is a
But
safe
then it's
environment.
still
And
like,
we're gonna enjoy
you know,
it.
it's not like heathenistic where there's no end, you know, it's drink and drink and drink. Oh, there's no more alcohol. We need to get more alcohol.
Right.
Drink like 4 beers.
Frat boy style.
I'm fucking drunk. Couple shots. I'm drunk. I can't even take shots.
Do you
My
guys
stomach's
want to
too
know how to
sensitive.
know if I'm in the mood to get drunk?
You're drinking?
If I show up, if I show up with a bottle of Lindemans, anything, Lindemans, they make
What is that?
this like cherry like cider, and they make this peach cider, and they make this apple.
We don't drink, but when we
cider.
do.
So good. It's like tart and sweet and delicious. And anyways, that one, and in reality, like a bottle is like 2 or 3 servings, and I'll be like,
You remember that drink that Emily made for you at Derbs?
yes, that's your poison.
It's become it. It's
The other, if I
it's
show
so
up,
herby. It's just full of herbs.
if I show up with 2 bottles of good Moscato, because one's for me and one's to share.
Herby, minty, full of honey.
I
Mhm.
love that this is slowly shifted from I don't drink, but
When I
let's
do.
do this.
It's few and far between.
Yeah,
I don't
there's
think
definitely a mood for everything.
like we've
I get
known
it.
each other for a few years now, and I don't think we've ever seen either one drunk per se.
Baby's mama, we've been together 10 years ish, and she's seen me drunk like twice.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
And I worked at the bar.
Yeah, I've
I was
definitely seen
really
it,
drunk at the
but-
opening party.
Not gonna lie.
No,
Got
that was an
trashed.
open bar and like literally endless.
Did you have one of the
endless.
drinks Cervena made?
I don't think so.
Apparently, they were a little strong.
Yeah, they were all strong as fuck. Even the other person who was bartending was making them just
It's
strong
such a-
as shit. I was
so-
looking at it because I think I got like a whiskey and Coke or something like that. I just kept getting those, and they were just fucking like all whiskey and then just a teeny bit.
A little known secret is there is always booze, like a lot of booze stashed away somewhere at Red Tree. Like it'll get gifted to us when we go to conventions. People will bring bottles to share, but we're all such non-drinkers that like,
They'll sit around for years.
yeah. Yeah, there's
age.
always
I
booze
remember
at
a
Red
whole
Tree.
big old thing of booze sitting around for the longest fucking time.
I
from
think-
the opening party that was never touched. No one took anything from it. All unopened bottles.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I love these guys. No one's like going up to try to take a shot and shit and try to get drunk in between the tattoo or anything.
Y'all don't know me.
Oh. I mean,
It's got the
No.
one set of
I'm not going to
fingerprints.
dog on anyone if they did, because if you're doing that, you know, if you're working at Red Tree, you obviously can control yourself.
can
and
handle yourself.
You know what you're doing, you know.
it's just funny that like there's always a pretty good liquor bar at any given
But I
But I
point.
definitely
It
worked-
might have
I've definitely
migrated to
worked with
Dirk's
people in
house.
the past that would just like between tattoos go off and get drunk and come
What do you
back,
think
and I'm
about the
like,
tattooers that are
"That's
like,
insane."
ah, I drink better, I tattoo better when I'm drunk. I drink better when I tattoo.
I drink better
I
on
haven't
Zoom.
worked with that bad. I haven't worked with that bad, but I've worked with careless.
Yeah.
I've worked with careless, just doing it because they're bored and there's a bar next door.
Yeah.
And it's like, God damn it. It's part of what I hate about bar life. That's when it just becomes convenient just to go and drink all the time.
I don't know.
Especially if there's one next door.
I see, I respect tattooing so much. I couldn't work if I was drinking. I just couldn't. Like, I wouldn't go out for like a day drink or
I
like
get so hungover.
I
and
would-
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
so much.
I wouldn't have a beer at lunch before tattooing.
So
Like
I know
some
it's-
people can, but I
it's
can't.
super taboo, but like everybody has
My
a drunk
tolerance,
tattoo
yeah.
story.
Yeah, my
it's all
tolerance
about
is
knowing
I
yourself.
can't drink and tattoo.
All
My
about knowing yourself.
I lose the dexterity in my hands. Like, I mean, it's there. I can still do things, but like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that fine motor skill.
See, that's what I
it's-
was gonna say. I
I'm
lose
not-
my subtleness. I
Mhm.
lose the little things that make like what I do, like any like sort of like little extra. If I was to put a nuance on something, like those types of things are gonna go out the window.
Mhm.
I think if I'm drunk, I'm not gonna do the fine, careful things. I am going to.
Would you want to be tattooed by
tend-
somebody who
tend to
was
be
drunk?
quicker. Fuck no.
Why?
Hell to the fuck no.
What if it was supposed to be
Hell
a
to the
drunk
fuck.
tattoo?
What?
What if it was supposed to be a drunk tattoo? Like one of the drunk, blindfolded, da. Would you let me tattoo you
It
drunk and
depends-
blindfolded?
If I have with the collection I'm having right now, no. But in another universe where that just sounds like a fun thing to do, and I trust your skills, and I trust that if you did it, you'd be cool with it.
Okay. I'm not gonna say I haven't been tattooed above a bar at 4 a.m. after drinking pint glasses of redheaded sluts by the person that had also been drinking since about
Aren't redheaded
Seven.
sluts chocked full of tequila?
no, it's Jägermeister peach schnapps and cranberry juice. But if you get-
Oh,
if you get 2 shots of Jaeger, 1 shot of peach schnapps, and fill the rest up with cranberry juice, it makes a nice pint glass cocktail. I used to drink a lot. And
oh,
it was delicious. It's like
you lost me at the Jaeger. Like I can do
Yeah.
Jaeger
it was
by
syrup.
itself
I was like,
with
syrup-
Red Bull.
syrupy
That's all.
goodness.
I'm glad you
Um,
like it. I'm
No,
a
it's,
fan of it.
it's horrible. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that's where I was at in life.
That's where you're at.
That night cost me a lot of money and a lot of dignity. Left my cell phone in a cab. That tells you how long ago I had to take a cab. Had my Nextel cell phone, and if anybody remembers Nextel,
Chirp.
they were super fucking expensive. Cabbie instantly, we called the company and was like I went to my neighbors always to like, I need your phone to call the cab with my phone in the cab. Instantly it was like, nope, wasn't there. I'm like, dude, I know you. I just blew that phone up. It's been ringing in the back of his cab for 20 minutes now. Like, call your guy in and get my phone. He's like, nope. He said he didn't have it. Malarkey. So-
Malarkey.
So
Straight
it
malarkey.
was a long night. Long night.
Yeah. Well, glad you're here with us
Stupid bar
today.
top 4 a.m. tattoos.
What tattoo did you get, Ben?
That
Is this
n-
the one? Is
Nope,
this the one in
nope,
which we do not
nope,
speak of?
Yep.
It's
yeah.
the one in which we do not speak of.
It
Jordan.
has-
You guys are insane. You can't say some shit like that.
Yeah, we can. Just did.
What is it?
It's a skull.
Oh no, you should have kept it a secret.
See, I know.
You could have kept it going.
It still kind of
Like,
is.
tune in next time.
It is a skull. It's the placement that is key. So,
Is it a booty hole?
oh, I think that's for another episode.
Tune in next time.
You want to talk about building suspense? Yeah, man, I'm not ready for that.
What's in the box?
Definitely not something that could be shared live on YouTube.
That's okay.
It's beautiful.
I like it. I'm happy for you.
It is the heshest thing in the world. It's amazing.
Hesh?
The heshes.
Hesh? Do we know Hesh?
I don't know.
Hesh is like
I
Ultra-
don't know.
ultra white trash.
Ultra white trash.
Like
Yep, that's a
ultra
good
white
way.
trash. Like there's white trashy level, and then there's people that are like, white, you rich boozy white trash mofos. That's hash. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Proud lifestyle.
There's a movie called Hesher with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's exactly what I'm imagining as you're using the term hesh.
Mhm.
Like
If
worth watching.
If the first three things you talk about are A, race cars, B, cocaine, 3, jet fuel, you know you're talking to. You know who you're talking to. Good.
I feel like I need some
times.
more coffee.
We're
I think
losing
so
her.
too. You ain't losing me. I'm fucking here for it. But you want to know what's on my mind?
What?
Guess.
What?
Aliens.
Aliens. Always. No,
So
they came out with a really
Always
dope
on
documentary.
my mind.
J.J. Abrams just did. And so last night I was just on this fucking kick on it. There's like 4 episodes on Showtime. But it's basically, it just came out and it's all about everything that's been going on lately.
Mhm.
So he's actually spent the time to sit and really interview all these different pilots and put it real good, put it in a real good perspective.
Put a bow on it and wrapped it into an
Yeah, I'm
obtainable
like, man, this is all the
package.
things I've been thinking about lately. It's wondering where it's all going and like just so much video. So that's just been on the back of my mind.
I think one
Those
of the
types of things I
things-
can't stop thinking about. When I can't, like, I don't know why. It's just
when we have Adam join us next week, he has done some serious homework and he's read a lot of the documents. Like he's been combing
I
through
loved-
them and reading
we
a lot of
talk,
them.
that's what we delved into big
Um,
time. We spent like 4 hours talking about that on
So
our
I think we're
tattoo.
gonna have a really good opportunity to actually like
delve into what's going on.
Are we
Yes.
planning an alien
Yeah.
episode?
an
Yeah.
alien segment of the next episode.
Alien
Always.
Adam's gonna
segments.
school us. We've talked
This
about
podcast
supposed
is founded
things,
on
but
alien segments.
but I think
Little did y'all know.
Founded.
You've
We're gonna-
been here from the beginning, y'all know.
Y'all know.
y'all
Y'all know.
Y'all know.
think-
Brett.
I think we're gonna hear a lot of rad new
AG.
stuff from Adam.
I like having
Can't wait.
someone tell me what a report said. That's so much more convenient because reading's such a chore,
Mhm.
and I wouldn't understand.
It's like
it
combing
anyway.
through
I'd
through
rather
somebody be
piles of
like-
paperwork until you
not
get
very
like
long,
the
but yeah.
important details.
Let me give you the 104-page synopsis. Shit's
Can I
right.
get the cliff notes?
That's all I want.
Can I get the cliff notes of the synopsis?
Surprisingly, it was only like 5 pages long.
The
Pretty
cliff
short.
notes?
I'd be
But there's a
lost on sentence
there's a
five.
classified version, and there's a or whatever declassified version, and that's the one we have. So there's a whole nother report that was written on it.
I
But,
want that one.
yeah, it's
I
100% real
want
though.
it all.
It's 100% real. They're up there doing stuff, and it is not another government. Like that's what this whole documentary is like. It's not. It's absolutely not, and it's all of these different Navy people, Navy, Air Force, all that saying.
Have
not.
I ever
There's no way because they're like, they talk about how they know what other technology they have in the other countries and things, and like how they know how far it is, and the fact that like something like this wouldn't come out. Like there's no way. It's like the probability of something like that not coming out,
right.
when it's so far beyond anything we could have ever had.
We're to the point now where
And there's-
everybody has recording technology that's apt of capturing these things. And 10, 15 years ago, it was like,
And they're breaking down the videos. Like
Right.
they have hundreds of videos in this that are
Mhm.
straight, like, holy shit, that's a straight UFO. And what they've also done in it, and they talk about how far they've gone pixel to pixel to really pick apart these videos to see
Right.
what's going on with them, whether
Yeah,
they're real or
and
fake. And
now
they're
the aliens
only
are
they're
like-
only showing like
Mhm.
the real ones.
the aliens are up there like, man, we gave them too much technology. Now they caught us. Okay, guys, we're gonna have to interact.
And almost all of these are Navy
I guess it's
videos.
time to wipe them out.
Like there's the Navy video of one of them it sounds fucking crazy, but you got Navy people talking about it, and it's a straight disc shaped craft that's moving, but like they show the occupants of it where you can't see it closely,
Mhm.
but you can see almost 2 beings, and like this is straight up like Navy Air Force commander saying like
That's a thing.
we have it, here's the photo, this is it. Like
Talk about a reputable source.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that guy wasn't trying to have that day.
right.
He didn't want to do that
If you see the
paperwork. He
picture
wasn't
too,
trying
they
to
look like
explain
little
that to
alien grays in
anybody.
there.
Mhm.
They look like little alien grays.
I think it's funny how that like we've even as a culture been so immersed in this image and this overall like conspiracy theory behind it that there's been this whole push even since like the early 70s. It's been so ingrained in our culture. I think it's just been a slow leak. If you want to be real about
Men
it.
in Black was a documentary.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but like even before Men in Black, you got to think about like the peace aliens and the things like that. Like it's been slowly ingrained into our culture for a long time to where now that if you were to see that, you wouldn't be as shocked by it. So I think if it would have been a fast pop back in the 70s, 60s, whenever, you know, that stuff slowly started becoming pop culture, that I think that pop culture release, because I mean, who controls everything that's broadcasted, let's be honest, was slowly taking the conspiracy theories and then slowly leaking more of those and mixing truth in with a lot of fabrication to make it seem crazy, but slowly inserting those images and slowly making it to where it was commonplace for someone to know what an alien was. I mean, think about in the 40s, if someone saw a gray, how would they describe that? The word alien probably wouldn't be what came to their mind. It would have been a creature from the night or a demon or do you see what I'm saying? So like
Slender Man.
What's crazy is like from the 40s to like literally the 70s, there were so many government UFOs as well. They were just documenting them like crazy, and they were even creating projects where they were taking, you know, tally of who was all saying it, and then like going and finding these people like Project Blue Book and all that, which is just, it's wild how long it's been going on. And so I've just been inspired by that movie because they show how many different reports there were, and how many different videos there were, and how real it's been to the government since then. And they have like, so like that technology has been around since the fucking 40s, when we're looking at that shit, not even being able to imagine it doing the same things they're doing now.
I think about early times to where we've got like let's say like chariots of fire in the sky and pillars of clouds and things along like that were described in the Bible, the Sumerian text, the Quran. Like there's lots of vivid sky imagery that's described in ways that are using words of people that didn't understand technology, and to have that backlog, you know what I mean, and to now have like modern technology stepping up and and creating solid images and linking all this stuff together. It's
how it validates so many other previous reports. Like, of course, there's a lot of crazy people, and there's a lot of people that just like attention. There's a lot of people who see things that probably are just planes and just don't know much, you know. They don't know, you know, they're like, that looks weird, so that's something. But like, when there's something weird, there's something, there really are weird things up there.
Well, I just think this is a really good example of a slow release of propaganda, like in how we are and have been slowly made acceptable of something that would normally have shocked a culture and put people into panic. I think that if we've had this information since the 40s, and we've been covering up and we've been non-explaining and non-releasing information and making a effort to curb how that happens, and then now slowly throughout the years, everyone, it's so ingrained in our culture that it's not even surprising that, man, they released those papers. There wasn't like a huge uproar of civilizations thinking we're going to die and all this. So think about if they would release that same paper in the 40s or 50s. Do you remember the radio show that, I know it's super popular, I'm not going to remember the right things, but the guy that went on the radio and he did it was H.G. Wells, did the story over the radio, and people went into mass panic.
The world, it was they was doing War of the Worlds.
Thank you. Yeah. I knew it was super popular, and I couldn't remember the name of it.
Yep.
So to think about that in a global scale back then, if that information was to come out in the same context that it did now, like, hey, by the way, we know there's little flying men in the sky, it would have caused mass panic and breakdown of civilization. So think about that as a release of information, a propaganda aspect of how we took that and we're like, let's slowly unfuck the minds of the American national. I mean, that's a worldwide population. That's just not us.
Right.
You got to think that's happened on a global scale.
Right.
On a global scale.
I think a couple of things that are crazy is just the fact of like, we've never had a higher time of interaction with whatever it is up there. So now
as civilians,
right. We know they're up there, but now as a mass whole of civilians, we're acknowledging that it's there first off. So you got people with their own crafts and people with their own technologies probably starting to really pay attention in a real way where they don't feel stupid talking about it. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. But you also have the governments creating technologies that are actually able to interact with them more, where they can actually track speeds of 50,000 miles an hour when they're flying by like that, and then taking turns like crazy. When a tracking system is not
before
meant,
was
not
that
meant to hold that, you know, when they go, you know, not meant for that. Now they're spending.
See that now.
ATIP, which is their fucking little group that they have. That's paying attention to the UFOs now. It's like the Pentagon's research group.
Right.
And they are in charge of like the budgeting and the allocation of money to create the technologies to do it now. So they're actually spending, they got this huge program that is meant to create technology and to like, of course, research it all, but
Right.
also to create technologies that can research it even further. Because even if it's, you know, another country or something, we don't even have the technology to even register it from another country.
Right.
But also they're trying to also rationalize it where it could boost military power too, where cool,
Yeah.
if someone else, maybe that is an alien, but even it's going to help other country, us, you know, go
So,
to war with other countries or do all that
my
shit,
thing
defense
is
shit.
maybe this is an opportunity to really, I know this is going to sound super, super hippie cheesy, but I'm going to throw it out there. There's something bigger than us fighting now. So like as a world, as a
Dude, what if they
as a
wanted to
human
invade?
race,
What if they really come down?
like what if, seriously, think about that.
Like if they're here, they're
It's
here.
not-
There's something going on. They're
Think
out
about
there.
it. Once
I don't think there's that question anymore. There's something
once they're
there.
like, hey guys, all right, they all know. Yeah, put plan 117.
That's
into
what I'm
the
saying
plan.
about the interaction thing. There's so much interaction going on with it now. What if now's the time they're like, cool, now they're understanding that we're fucking here. Maybe they're gonna actually,
Wipe us out.
I don't know. I'm not gonna be the one going, oh yeah, now they're gonna come down because we all
I'm
know.
just saying that
we'll all be conscious to it. But
the
I don't.
probability of that is actually higher because you got to
Way
think
higher.
if it's actually been communicating with a global scale government this entire time, right?
And they've been,
And
they've
there
been
has
trying.
been a mass media hiding of release of information. You
So
think
they're
that,
like, we're here, and the government's like, we're not here.
and then
We're not here.
at this point they're like, hey guys, we kind of we're to the point where we can't hide you anymore. It's time to release global plan. Maybe you see what I'm saying? Like this couldn't have been centralized to the United States. Every single government, every single higher power, every single person that
Yeah.
would be in the know of holding that media back to not would have to have the same communication
That's
with
the
the
thing.
same.
every country has all of this stuff going on. Every
Right.
single
And
country.
every
That's
single
with
country has been hiding it since the 40s. There's a reason for that.
we were one of the last ones to come out about it. All the other ones have now. No,
But-
we've released all of our reports and all of our videos.
Other
And
than panic, you don't
most- a
mean to
lot of
tell
them.
me there wasn't a big ship in the sky going, okay, guys, check it out. This is what we're going to do. We're going to not tell these people because they're going to freak out. It's going to just, you know what I mean? Like, you think that information wasn't centralized at some point? People talk about a one world government and this, that, and the other. And in my mind, I would think that if this was a massive thing at some point, we've already been on that one world government
Mhm.
scale. Because if this is a global conspiracy, right?
Yep.
At some level,
That puts everything, that makes
all
everything
of
else a
those people-
facade.
it's fake. It's a distraction.
Ben, you might have just broke somebody's brain.
I'm sorry.
Be careful.
It's a real thing though, because on a global scale, this has been hidden.
This
the
is
control
probably gonna
of
be the
inf-
thing that cracks the egg, to be honest.
The control of
I
information
think.
has been a theory since what? World War what? I know we were back-to-back champs, but like, which one was that? That was a real
Cold War?
no World War.
The tween one?
Wait, two?
No,
What?
that's what I'm saying. Like the propaganda was really designed before one of the world wars to make the acceptance of murdering a ton of people okay. So that was a release of information to a group of people to allow that to happen where it wasn't mass chaos and riots and,
Mhm.
and overthrow of a government, right? So like that theory and that concept was developed or told or taught or repeated or regurgitated from some other theory of release of information. What if that mind control aspect of how we are influenced, advertised to, told what's cool, why we think tattoos are sweet, why we like the shirts that we wear, the hats and the designs that we like, the cars that we do, all that is an influence.
Even counterculture is still
it's,
with
it's
the
an
culture.
influenced thing, right? So if that was taken from mass manipulation from a global aspect, we've based our whole social structure on information and control
Yeah.
since the beginning of information and control.
Right. I feel like there's also like another, you know, I think no one knows what the fuck it is at all. Even the government has no fucking clue. But
Wait a
maybe
second.
they do though.
That's
maybe
my-
they,
that's
maybe
my
they
thing.
do though.
I
Maybe
think they do,
But also like
and their job
maybe
is to
they-
say,
Like they see the videos, they see all this, they just don't want to release
Right.
anything because they want to be the one with the knowledge. And if they, it's like
Well, in the same theory, information is power, because controlling and manipulating and having people stay in the mindset of receiving that information is all about power. Right. So if this is something that can break that power and destroy that line of information and destroy that veil, if you will,
Right.
why would they spread that information? It's something that is destroying the whole structure.
right, and
of
they're
how
constantly
cons-
ridiculing it and making it seem like it's nothing, which is just making
Right.
nobody ever want to talk about something that's
because
super,
they're concealing the power
super
of
real.
control.
So they want to be the holders of the information.
Right. Because that's how
Right.
they control.
Exactly.
So the busting that open and going on a global saying like, yeah, guys, we've been hiding this from you for a long time is essentially admitting that the entire way that we've been communicating with people in a higher up and a higher government has been an upper echelon, has been a controlled information type of situation to where we've been kept in the dark and dumb.
What if we
Kept us as
learn
mushrooms in the dark
what
and
if we
fast.
learn
Bullshit.
that like
Fuckers.
something is crazy? Like, let's just use this as an example. Like the Pope, this guy
Yep.
that is an incredibly like exalted person of power. Da, 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 da.
He's the direct link.
What if he's the only one that they talk to?
Right. Absolutely.
Like, we're not going to confuse the situation by talking to anybody other than this guy, and he can translate and disperse the information as deemed
I don't believe
necessary.
it, though.
Is that what
I don't
Jesus
believe it.
was?
I'm
I
just
don't
saying,
believe
like,
Was Jesus our
for
first
instance,
alien
what
interpreter?
if there was?
I like.
I don't think he
for
was the first.
The most noted in our society alien
Like I said,
interpreter.
Hear me out.
Hear
These
me
three
out.
guys,
I would be
these
so
three
fuck-
wise men.
Do you know how fucking mad I would be at the goddamn Pope if that's what is going on?
I mean,
Fuck the Pope if
Yeah,
that's the
I'm-
case.
the-
Sorry, excuse me. I shouldn't
They
swear
will-
like that on.
they
on
will
our-
come after
our
you, bro.
podcast. Yeah,
They drive
I can
around.
already hear the buzzing.
Don't. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Vatican. I didn't
Oh my
mean
God.
it.
Don't smite me.
Don't smite me, almighty smiter.
But I would be so mad. Don't withhold on us. Fucking.
What do you
just
think the
not
whole
tell us
process
about
of-
some shit like that?
But that's what all of this has been this whole time.
Right? Exactly.
Every-
Angels,
every-
demons, all
even
that.
even religion is designed to control. Do this or I'll fucking spank
I'm
you.
gonna be honest. I'm just getting mad at the whole situation because I'm mad that they haven't come down yet. I'm mad that they have done nothing.
Just
Jordan's
so
like,
sick-
I want to hang out.
I'm so
I
sick
wanna
of
pack
how
a bowl,
passive
I
they've
wanna
been.
share it.
How do you just be spacefaring beings and just like passively interact with it? Like,
am I not worthy?
I don't know. Maybe it's one of those
no,
things
I mean,
like,
I doubt we are.
hold on. When we go to the zoo
There's
and
an
we're
episode of
looking
South
at
Park
like
for
the
this.
little,
Microenvironment.
so there are some tanks that are touch pools and there are some tanks that are not. Why are they not touch pools? Because
They
they would be
bite.
scared. They would retaliate. They're going to bite back. They don't know that we don't mean them harm. Like they're poor, ignorant little things that just,
They might launch a nuke at us and ruin it all.
maybe it's just one of those like
What are they gonna
their
do?
manners
Why are they
dictate
there?
that it's kindest to just leave us be.
Are we
And
a
that's
zoo?
why like some people get abducted because that's like the punk with the magnifying glass that wants to like look closer and
Right.
fry the ants and like pull the legs off of things. Like some aliens could be crazy. And
Right? You would think, and I would only hope that they have different personalities. I hope it's not some big hive
Blank-
mind, or maybe they're a hive mind or something like that. Who knows what the fuck they are? But I would hope that they got different personalities.
Have I ever
And
told
like
you about the
once we start approaching them, we can approach them, on a level of like getting to know them differently.
kindness is a language. So they could be being
huma-
kind by not,
humaneness?
they could be just being kind by not interacting.
Right.
Like we know you're there, but
They
like
might know that
we're
their
not supposed to
microbes
mess
will
with you. You're
to
not
base
supposed to mess
level,
with
their
us.
microbes might just kill us if they even come near us. If their breath
Right.
even goes into our air, it could just
Right.
spread everywhere.
Who knows
There
what they
could be,
breathe.
you know what I mean? Like they could breathe anthrax.
Right.
Like you never fucking know.
Who knows? Who knows?
So that's a pretty good reason to not get out of your ship. I
I'll
think
kill
that's like
everyone.
it's like we're pretty careful to send like sterile stuff to other planets and stuff because of that exact reason.
So, what do you think about the theory that population control from viruses is designed from extraterrestrials?
Based on my knowledge and education, I don't know, but
Well,
based on my thought of how I think that could happen, I think it could happen.
I mean, think about.
I read this crazy conspiracy theory. Mind you, I read this crazy conspiracy theory. I'm not even saying I subscribe to it, but it took me back to a conversation that Jordan and I had several months ago, and we were talking about graphene. And in this conspiracy theorist article that I was reading, they were talking about the vaccine versus the actual virus. And in this theory, either one could actually be a high technology that is these tiny little, and mind you, I'm not saying I subscribe to this, these tiny little graphene basic carbon robots that are programmed to self-duplicate by gathering carbon and other minerals that they would need to replicate. So they're like little tiny microscopic graphene robots that are self-replicating.
Aliens.
But in this again conspiracy theory that I was reading, it was like either or both could actually be these higher technology tiny robots that have different purposes and can be programmed to be turned or off, on or off at whoever's whim. It's like, like I said, not sure I subscribe to it.
Okay,
But
so
there's a thought.
I happen to be not watching. Star Trek was on in the background last night. I was talking to Eric, and literally that was the show. Data stabbed. I don't know the names of this. I've watched 2 episodes of my entire life, but the robot
Data was
the robot dude stabbed one of the people on the ship with this special knife that infected them with a robot organism that infected, and they killed it with a high-pitched frequency.
Slow drip.
Data.
Just saying, slow drip.
Damn it, Data.
Just saying, slow drip.
Trickle. How long they've been trickling this down to us?
So, not to prove my previous point, and this was in no way, shape, or form set up. That's odd to me. We didn't talk about this.
I'm talking about the graphene robots, the self-replicating graphene robots, because they were saying, in theory, if this were possible, graphene is so thin, it's such a thin one single layer of carbon that if you can charge this to be intelligent, to reproduce itself, it can pull carbon from any other materials around it, because carbon is our basic footprint. Like carbon is in everything that is alive. So anything that's alive is going to have both carbon and energy to power this. Like, I might have read too much of this thing. But
so what you're saying,
when we're talking about the size, the graphene, like if this were a graphene robot, it would basically be the size of like one tiny piece of a virus. Like a virus would be exponentially larger than what these graphene microbots could be.
Anybody listening live that has
We're science nerds. We're really sorry.
Please feel free to
we read too many things that we don't know anything about.
Read, watch, I don't read.
Oh no.
I like to say become inspired by
tiny bots.
Tiny bots. Nanobots would be cool.
But
could be dangerous.
It's one of those things, like if we don't have the technology yet, we're really close to having that technology. And
it's literally right in front of our faces. Fucking crazy technology that we can't even imagine. That's coming from space.
That was from
fucking coming from motherfucking space.
Are we talking about early Star Trek, like from like 1989 to like 1994, like the?
Man, it's probably like Star Wars
or older.
I don't know.
But we're talking a while ago, right?
Yeah, it's old as shit.
Just like Star
Reading
Trek
Rainbow guy with the fucking visor. Like I said, I watched 2 episodes of Star Trek, and I know that is like holy ground for some people, and I'm really trying not to be disrespectful with my ignorance. But yes, it was old as shit.
What? How old?
Old, like old and grainy, and like the old uniforms, and like it was old. Reading Rainbow didn't have great hair yet. Slow drip.
Captain Kirk, what was his name?
I don't fucking know.
I'm drawing.
And again, I wasn't really watching it. It was just on in the background, and I was like, "This is really what the show is like." Like it was super ultra. Outdated
I still want to beam. I still want to beam me up. Can you beam me somewhere, please? Like that's way cooler than an elevator or an escalator. Like, just beam me. Beam me.
Right. Rearrange might match her.
As long as I came back the same person, that's a lot. I'd be okay with change.
Come back as a current breakout monster.
In the same episode,
Ben's
Data.
gonna come back next week and he's gonna speak the full Klingon
Klingon.
language. It's gonna be fantastic.
But Data had a cat that since he stabbed somebody, he was like sad and thought he was broken. So he gave his cat to one of the Klingons to watch, and he was like, he prefers feline number 5, and was like all attached. But this cat was just like Sheldon. My cat, super creeps.
So you were connected to the episode. You
No,
were-
I was like, I'm gonna turn this off now. And I left the room. That was literally the point. I was like, no, Star Trek, no. He was like, I will feed him.
William Shatner. I thought of his name.
Shat.
Bill Shatner.
The
So
Shat.
back to Tiny Ponies. Marion used to have a sulky company, and he
Little
would come to
Sebastian.
Marion and order all of his custom sulkies. So
Aw.
looping back to Star Trek,
It's
full
almost
circle.
like we planned this shit.
You know?
It's kind of funny how
It's the weed.
you talk long enough, it all just connects.
6 degrees of our own conversation.
Kevin
Back
Bacon.
to Ponies and Marion.
And
Sulkies.
Bill
Bill Shatner.
Sebastian.
Yeah. So can we do a little pony episode? Tattoo live while I ride Little Pony Rickshaw?
I think it's required now.
Oh wait, Jordan said I was too fat to ride the rickshaw.
It's all right.
Right.
You ride the
Right.
rickshaw. We'll be broadcasting from the back of the van. You'll be like riding circles around the pond. I guess it's got a long, glorious mane too.
We braid it, put little flowers in
I feel like the kids are gonna have muddy handprints all over it all the time.
No.
It's gonna be fantastic.
You know what song I got stuck in my head?
What song you got stuck in your head?
A long ass fucking time ago.
Oh, you've been watching Pick a Destiny.
There lived a humble family.
Were you weren't? Were
I
you
haven't-
working?
No, you played it like weeks ago.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
been in my head since.
Were you working the night that
Some
I played the
nuance
whole
of a word that
Tenacious
was
D
just
album?
said just put it in my head so hard. Lived a humble family. Dio, can you hear me? I am lost and so afraid.
For those of you who don't know, we're speaking of Tenacious D.
Jack Black.
Knock.
What?
I used to watch that movie religiously when I was really young.
Honestly, I didn't see that movie until a few years ago, and I was upset at how long I had been missing out. That's kind of up there with Little Nicky for me now.
Right,
I
right.
love Little Nicky.
Yeah, I love Jack Black. He's a man.
I always like School of Rock, where he teaches all the kids how to play instruments and accidentally falls in love.
Accidentally.
You know
With,
that kid
with the
that,
children.
you know that
in
kid
the
that
best
played
way.
guitar?
He's a real guitar player now.
He died.
Oh no way. He's a
Yeah.
dead guitar player now. Sorry, bro.
Mhm.
He was
did.
really, really talented.
He did.
Really,
I'm
he
95% sure it was him. One of them died.
He
pretty
played
sure
with
it's him.
a ton of big names.
Really?
Of big names. Yeah. Like he left that movie into a career. Like,
Go him.
yeah, it's kind of cool.
Good for him.
Well, that's sad.
Thanks, Jordan.
Way to
Fucking-
bring the mood
Don't
down.
bring me down.
R.I.P.
Bruce.
It's good to put one out for the homies. It's all right. R.I.P. homie. On to the
Coffee's-
next thing.
coffee's
Angels.
messy,
Just
but
another
yeah.
UFO in the sky.
Jordan, when are you gonna start your
Life's
dreadies?
just like a UFO. I tell you what, it's here and it's there. Gone.
You gonna be starting your dreadies anytime soon?
I don't think I'm gonna do dreadies.
I think I'm gonna chop mine
I
soon.
don't think I'm gonna.
I've been talking about
have
it.
my
I'm
hair
trying to ease
long.
everybody into the idea so everybody doesn't think I'm having like a mental breakdown and
You mean
ask
like
me
the
what's
propaganda
wrong.
leak?
Sooner
the
or
what?
later, I'm
You
gonna
mean like the
come out.
propaganda leak?
Yes, I'm
I'm just
preparing everybody. I'm
So you
preparing
do this in
everybody.
your own life. So it's a concept that we've taken in as a human. So
Last time I cut my dreads off, I just did it and I didn't tell anybody.
people
And
thought you were
man,
Britney.
yes, it was such a like, I'm like, no, I want to get my head tattooed.
It's
Like, I
cool.
just-
It's cool.
I want to get my head tattooed. I'll
My
grow them
neck
back.
hurts.
Yes. I was talking to my massage therapist yesterday. I was like, she was even like, no, keep them. And as she's working on my neck and shoulders, I was like, see, once I get
See?
rid of the several pounds hanging off the back of my dome, your life will be a lot easier.
Yeah, no less tension. Unfortunately, my neck and shoulder problems are caused from my fat head.
You have a large noggin. Yeah. So if you guys, I'm not saying it's going to be next week. But sometime soon, I'm just going to see me without my dreads, and I'll be back to a Jimmy Neutron.
Can we make a dready wig?
Oh, I'm going to keep my dreads this time. Last time I kept them until I started my new ones, and I was like, I'm not going to add these as extensions. And I didn't, so I pitched them. But I might keep these ones. That way, like if I do
Can-
want dreadies sooner, I can just grow my hair out a little bit, add them back in and run it.
I
Can
kept mine for a
we?
long time, and then after just like pulling it out of the back of the cover, I gotta go stout. I didn't
I can see that. Can we artistically make a bird's nest out of them and weave them all in together?
I mean, I can kind of do that often while I wear them.
I've always wanted to do like art hair. You remember the people that did like the pineapples and the waterfalls?
You want to macrame my dreads into a basket?
Can we?
Only if I can unmacrame them in case I need extensions.
Well, I mean, it's not like I know how to do it. It's gonna. I mean, we'd have to like figure it out. So I'm sure we can make sure we don't tie knots.
I'm really looking forward to having a Jimmy Neutron. I was talking to somebody
Can we
about
rock
cutting
the
my
same
dreads
cut?
off. My client Devin the other day. She was like, "Are you just gonna do a pixie cut when you cut them off?" I was like, "I mean, I prefer to call it a Jimmy Neutron, but yes, I guess that would be a long, tall pixie." I like wearing my hair in all the phases.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do you, girl.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad you did
Change it up.
I've
bud.
had these ones long enough that a lot of people don't remember me without them. Where
don't-
it's
I
like
don't
I've
need
had
dreads
short
now.
hair, like, and you know what? I think once I cut my hair off, it's gonna click. My massage therapist is gonna remember which train wreck I was back in my early 20s and her early 20s, because she was like, "Did you have dreads then?" I should have been like, "No, I had a pink stripe in my hair."
I was punk as fuck. I never knew non-dready fun.
I'm still just as cool.
I didn't think it changed you. I'm just saying that's the image of. I've seen photos of you with short hair, but
Yep. It's gonna happen. My hair grows really fast though.
I just went
That's the
full
fun
Britney
thing.
and cut my shoulder length off and was like, "Fuck it, COVID's stupid. Barbers are dumb. I got clippers," and I kept it up for a minute, and then
It's gonna happen to me one day.
eventually was just like, you know what?
Jordan will come in all clean cut. It was weird when Devin came in like that, all like
Right.
clean cut, and
Right.
no
Hey,
ponytail.
bro, where's your? Huh.
I was like, wow, that's nice.
Chill.
There's one part of me that wants to just keep growing it out and just grow my hair as long as I can. So at least I got one time in my life where I grew it out as long as I could. Because if I cut it, I'm probably never gonna grow it out.
I can always get
Maybe.
to about here, and I'm like,
I'm just so bad at getting haircuts too that it just like gets long again. I'll just go with it.
It just gets long again.
I can see that. I can see that.
I was always used to having dreads though too, so just having normal hair is just so quick. I mean, the past 10 years of my life, before 2-3 years ago, I had dreads for 10 years.
Yep.
So
I'm over
having
them.
this hair is just almost used
I
to it
really
now.
don't want to hate them. A lot of
Really
people
weird.
are like, just be patient with them. It's like, no, I love them. I really love
Don't
them.
ruin it.
And I want to chop them off so that I can look forward to having them again. I don't want to be one of those people that's like, I should have cut them off so long ago and no, I'm never having them again. I don't want to be that person. I love them. I love having them. I love the process of growing them. I love like the transformation as they grow. I love the way that they change and the story changes. And like, no matter how you want them to look, they're going to do their own thing.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know. It's
Yeah,
a
I
real,
spent a good 5 years looking like a crazy person.
it's a
before
real,
my dreads ever looked like
it
real
really is a
dreads.
character builder to be patient, to go through all the phases, just like with tattoos and any other like transformation of the body. There's this like level of patience and this level of character building where like you've got to see it through. Like you can't jump into it and not see it through. You can't start dreads and then not take care of them. Like you can't start a tattoo and not finish it. You can't like you can't do any body modification surgery without then doing the follow-up, like whether it's working
Adhering to
out
the
or
diet,
yeah,
but
like
actually working out.
it's one of those, like no matter how you look at it, like
Willingness to engage.
one of the really cool things about dreadlocks is it really is an art of patience, like whether you're the person doing them or the person wearing them. Like it really is a character building thing, and to learn to have the patience to sleep with them. And you know, like sometimes it's uncomfortable, and when you first get them done, they're tight and uncomfortable, and then they grow out and now they're fuzzy and crazy looking. And
Mine became so heavy. It became very heavy on my neck, so
Mhm.
it causing me consistent neck problems. I was always compensating my neck in a different way because the weight of my hair would be out one way. And personally, I could never wear my hair down. It's just something that bugged me. I mean, always, project oriented person.
Mhm.
So like I'm always head over top of something that I'm working on.
Yeah,
Hair all
my
over it.
bun is giant
Not
right
gonna
now.
work
It's
out.
not even really a bun. It's just this like giant half loop knot that keeps my hair from kind of touching my neck, but it's so long that like it's big as my head. My hair is as big as my head or bigger. I don't have a very big head.
Some must have your head.
It's a big hair. But yeah, so it's going to be a drastic change when I chop my dreads, but it's not really a drastic change, and I'm going to grow them back. So I'm preparing anybody that actually watches and pays attention. I was going to try and wait till fall, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm getting impatient with
mean,
them.
It's the end of August. Fall's
It's
like
fall.
right around the corner.
Yeah, I'm to the point where I'm looking forward to cutting them off now.
Right.
Like it's like I'm counting down whatever day it happens to be that I'm like,
Should we do it today?
I don't know if today's the day, but probably soon.
I mean, I could use a touch up. You want to set up a smoking cut session?
I mean, it's funny because the guy that cuts my hair, he's my buddy Aaron, and I said something to him about cutting my dreads off, and he's like, he kind of looked at me funny because like his mom wore dreads for years and years, and when she cut her dreads off, I think it was when she turned 50, and like she
Right.
and her sisters like made it a thing. They got their dreads together, they cut them off together. Da da da. He's like, I'm like, everything's fine. I'm just like, I'm ready for the next set. I'm ready
Right.
to start the next journey. And he was like, so then he shows me this picture of this news anchor. She's like, I don't know, on CNN or something, but she's got like a blonde pixie that she stands straight up. I was like, yeah, that's a Jimmy Neutron that I was talking about. He's like, oh, well, I could see you with your hair like that if it's short. And I was like, yeah, that's like the only option I'll have. First of
Right.
all, like I can go G.I. Jane or I can go Jimmy Neutron. I'd rather go Jimmy Neutron. And then I showed him who Jimmy Neutron was and he laughed.
Right, right. It fits. It
Yeah.
plays.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you want company, we can always do a
We could make it happen. I could just hack them off and then brush them into a messy mess, throw a hat on it, be done with it.
sounds less fun.
Jordan, what if Ben and I had the same haircut?
I don't know.
Can you put your hair up into a bouffant like a DA?
Yeah, with the right equipment.
I would be
And
accepted.
get you some pomade,
I would
some of that
accept you
Dapper
guys
Dan.
in any form.
Can we go get like cheesy like twins pictures taken? Like go get the same outfits.
As long as they're 70s news anchor looking outfits,
Baller.
we're gonna ham this up.
Yes.
You know what we need to do just for prop's sake? We need to find an old like 1987 full on like over the shoulder
Over-the-shoulder
VHS.
camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it
30
just
pounds
like
of
as a
extra.
prop for when we're interviewing people. Like we'll really have like that one following us around, or like maybe even a drone, but you'll have this like dinosaur.
Always awkwardly in the background, like
shaky hands.
yeah, shaky hand. What we could really do is we could design one and make it to where we put like a high resolution like GoPro or something in the front of it so we can actually send feed through
I
it.
wonder if we could find one that we could just set that inside of. I wonder if one already
Build a
exists.
mount for that
Mhm.
that looks
Like you know how they've got the Polaroids that you can really
Yeah.
connect to your smartphone, but you get the Polaroid
we
print.
just build a case for one of the cameras we already have that essentially exudes the old timey. Can we get a guy to follow us around with a big fuzzy boom mic and like inappropriately put it in places?
I think this should be part of our shtick.
We should do on top of that is we should just get something. We should just get like a Polaroid camera that we can take Polaroids whenever we're interviewing people for like all the events that we do.
I was thinking
Polaroids
about
are
getting a
instant moment,
Polaroid
man, so I love
just
'em.
because. Did we talk about this on another show recently?
Not that I remember, but we
Polaroids?
talk a lot. So
I don't know. But I've been thinking a lot about Polaroids. I've wanted to get myself a camera
shake
just
it
for
like
that.
a
I think it's cool just to be able to
Polaroid
print them
picture.
out. I just like all the Polaroids lately are like
Good
this big. And
Lucy-Lou.
it's expensive for the ones that do good Polaroids,
Right.
but I want one that does good
Well,
Polaroids.
they
It'd
also
be a lot-
have 'em
It'd
that
be a
will-
lot of fun for events being able to just take.
They will
pictures.
instant print and then they'll upload. So you can then
Oh,
keep 'em
Chris.
in
Right,
your
so you
cloud.
Chris
Wow,
was
we got
talking
both of
about
that.
the Polaroids
Get a
that he
real
takes
picture, and
when
then
he
you can just
travels.
give them their picture.
Right, digital print. as
That's
well.
so nice.
hear me? I remembered.
I didn't even think about that.
Couple episodes ago, we had Chris Taylor on, and he was showing off his Polaroid collection as he was traveling to promote for his convention. He took Polaroids of everybody that he was
that's
with.
right. Yeah.
I really like that idea. I've been thinking about that since we spoke, and we should do that, especially once, in the very, very near future. I want to kind of start hitting the road and hitting other shops and like coordinating schedules. And
We can build a scrapbook of our travels.
aw, tattoo collecting scraps.
Right.
Get a business card from where we stop. Put it
Mhm.
in with the Polaroid of the peoples.
Yep, we
Like
should start doing
Polaroids.
that. I really want to start hitting other studios. That's going to be a very, very near future thing. I'd like to start doing little mini couple day road trips where we can hit several studios and then have like a half-hour segment for each studio.
I
So-
think that sounds like a blast.
So being that next week's the 50th episode, I think starting with 51, we're gonna be switching gears and like kind of taking this to the next level. Gabe's working really hard to get us on to Roku. So I feel like it'll be really cool to start incorporating just all different kinds of facets.
So we're gonna shift into a multimedia name.
We've been
'Cause we're
missing each
podcast.
other so much. I don't even think I've had a chance to brainstorm with Jordan about this, but one of the things I've been kicking around is maybe changing the name of the show to the Tattoo Collecting Show.
Tattoo collecting show.
Yeah.
Tattoo collecting show.
Yeah, because we're not technically a podcast. That was our original goal when we started working on this, was to become a podcast. But now we're so much into the video media, and since Gabe's trying to get us on Roku, I think we should just be the Tattoo Collecting Show or something similar.
Not super opposed to
Tattoo
it.
collecting talk.
But we're just approaching an awesome milestone to where it's time to take the next leap. Everything that we've been learning, I've been playing around with like the laptop and some of the software, and just kind of like starting to get a smooth workflow so we can just kind of travel and be different places and set up quickly. I couldn't believe how quick we set up today, guys.
I helped.
That was super
It
quick.
was the first time I've ever actually helped, so making me feel bad about that.
It's getting really fluid though.
I actually did minimal. I rolled a blunt and I
That-
plugged some things in.
That is something someone
Today.
always does. So like,
It was nice having you
Yeah.
help out. I was like, oh shit.
I
That's doing
like, I like community.
I don't love you being here, Ben.
Oh,
Yeah, I like
Love
it. I really like having Ben on, and I like when Todd is able to join us. Apparently he's in the casino today.
doing his
Um,
thing.
But I think it's really important. Jordan and I mean, obviously we're like passionate collectors, and like the motivation to doing this show was kind of like, there are a lot of complaints that we have as tattooers, and it's really hard to complain about them over and over again because it still doesn't educate the collector. So, that's one of the whole goals of this show and this project, is to to bridge the gap between tattooers and collectors. If we can educate collectors on like the proper etiquettes and the proper hoops to go through, and the things to
make
look
their
for and the things
experience
to
more
avoid.
enjoyable.
Yeah, the things to make everything more
Right.
enjoyable. Like the goal of this is to help bridge that gap. It's to make it easier for people to find out how to find the right artist for them. And then once they find the right artist, how do they approach them? And then what's that person going to be like? And then what are all these other tattooed people going to be like? And then I want to show people like not only what are tattooed people like, but like how cool our community is. Like
Right.
we talk about Red Tree a lot, we talk about Columbus a lot, but like that just happens to be where we are. The whole tattoo community worldwide is a family, just like
Yeah.
what we're talking about. Like it's a very, once you get to a certain, there's not a better word for it, but like a certain echelon, like once you've put the work in and you've kind of made it through the crowd, it's a very close-knit community. Like we all know one another. Our clients start to know one another. Our clients start to recognize one another.
Right.
And that's where it gets really cool. Like, we're talking about like all these spacey things and technology and this, that, and the third, but like as like passionate collectors and passionate artists, like those are where our brain goes.
Right.
And I don't know, it just connects us all, and it's such a special thing. And I want people to be aware that like when you're getting a tattoo, like
You're not just getting a tattoo.
yeah, are you necessarily like joining a fraternity or anything like
You in
that?
the club.
No, but
You got
like
beat in.
Basically, you know, especially when you see people with big work, because
Yeah.
you know that they sat through and they've experienced some of the things that
There's a-
you've sat through, and
There's a
they've
break in my mind. There's people that are, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible. There's people that are trinket tattoo collectors. They want that small, they want that
Mhm.
unique, they want that, and that's absolutely fine if that's your style.
Mhm.
But when you run into somebody that's like a passionate collector and has a full piece of any body suit size of any limb that is completely covered, even if it's a half sleeve, somebody that has
Mhm.
taken the time to dedicate into you reach a point where it's just like you crest this, oh, I get it, because I've spent so much time in the
Mhm.
shop. And then when you go to these conventions, people recognize that as a, I don't want to, there's levels to this shit.
it's kind of like, I see you.
I see the effort you've put in. I've seen it. You've you know what I mean? So it's a visual representation of the time you've been willing to participate in your
Mhm.
crowd.
I don't know. I feel like,
Chicken tonight, like chicken tonight.
I just feel like, so
It's an easy way to
so-
recognize a like-minded individual.
there we go.
Yeah.
Those are the words that I'm looking
Yeah,
for.
it's
Like,
not it's not a
we
cool
can
kid
see each
club.
other
It's
in a crowd, and our tattoos might not even be remotely similar. Like, I look at your tattoo work and my tattoo work,
it's completely
totally different. But like, at the same time, like,
It's
yep,
an instant
you earned that
familiarity.
just the same as I did. Like,
It's an
oh, you
instant
got
familiarity.
your back worked on at a convention too. Oh, you know how much it sucks.
Right. It's an
Yep.
instant, like we've shared experiences, we've bonded, even not in the same room. You know that we've been willing to commit to something. You know,
Jordan's got to leave. They're gonna go turn on the gas at our new
Yep. Sorry, guys.
studio.
it's okay.
I might be back for an ending. You guys can wrap up whenever, but I should be back pretty quick here.
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes away. You got this.
15 minutes,
You got
20
this.
minutes.
We'll see you
But
soon.
anyways, big things are happening.
Right?
Drive careful.
Thank
We'll see you in a
Be
few.
I'm gonna
safe.
get that gas turned on.
Yes, sir.
I'll be right back.
But it's an easy way to see someone that at least on some level you have a mental click with.
Mhm.
It's like seeing somebody with your favorite band shirt on.
Yep.
You know, you can go up and talk
You
about.
know, you've got
"Remember
more in
that
common than just the tattoo.
Right.
You know, there's something that aligns with that person, that they felt passionately enough to sit there and have this mark.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you've got to sit through pain to collect any tattoo, and you've got to be patient, and you've got to go through the healing process, and you've got to adjust your life. Like,
Right.
those are all sacrifices that we all make to collect tattoos. So that says something about somebody's mental fortitude.
Right.
First of all, that
Right.
says something about somebody's mental fortitude. And then you see somebody with really nice work, and it's like, oh, not only do you have mental fortitude and stamina to sit
You've
through
got
something
good
like that, but
taste.
you've got good taste, and you must work really hard and
Right.
put that into things that you care
Right.
about to have this.
So at one point I was at a show, it was a Devil Driver concert, and had been standing next to these guys all night. Came in, it's dark. We kind of made our little niche. We both held spots while we, went on to the bathroom and, whatever else, and came back up. Like, thanks for making space when we, whole show, right? Into the show, the lights come up, and he's standing next to me on the opposite side. So both of the arms that were next to each other had the exact same Sailor Jerry flash tattoo, done extremely traditionally, extremely correct, in the same style and the same. And it was one of those, like, we stood through this whole show. So anytime you watch live music with me, I feel like you bond with the people around you.
Mhm.
And even the
You're
smallest
sweating
level.
all over each other.
You
You're
have-
breathing each other's air in and out. You're
Y'all just
spilling
set your
each other's
minds-
beer on each other.
You all just set your minds to the same frequency.
Faux show.
Like-
But there's so much exchange that goes on in live
Absolutely.
music.
So we get done, and we've already shared this experience, and we've both been screaming and yelling, "Woo, yeah, our favorite band." And then we get done, and we both have the same tattoo in the exact same spot on opposite arms. Like, literally, like, we both dropped down and we're like,
Did we just become tattoo
"What
brothers?
the fuck?" Like, it was so weird. And I'll never forget that. Do I remember that guy's face? No. Do you think I even learned his name that evening? No. But there was this instant, like,
All right.
all right.
But that's kind of the funny thing about the polarity of how, like, like comes together
Right,
and like
right.
gravitates because of the 100 people that close
Yep,
to the stage
yep.
that you could have
I
stood
instantly
beside.
went to him. Well, I mean, in that same receiving frequency mindset, so your brain's designed to send and receive electronic signals. It's what it does. It's a nervous system, even to control your body. That's what it does. Thoughts are amplifications of that signal. So when you're in an environment that is creating a beat, if you're in an environment that's creating a frequency, a noise, a
It's like
connection,
liquid.
it is
You
something that
get
is
in the flow of it.
literally why you feel that connection at a show. You walk in, you're like, oh, this room is hitting, this is on. Like there's a vibe. And the same when you go to a packed club and the DJ's on and everybody's jumping and
That
you
energy
feel
shifts.
that. Like that's AKA religious experience, for lack of a better term. And it's like to reset to onto that frequency, you are then now attracting all the same frequencies around you. To have that weird opportunity of just being polarized to a like individual, it really like sculpts the way I thought about how human interaction was. Like that specific show was like, just like you're saying, of all the people in the room, of everywhere I could have went, I walked up to somebody that liked, obviously we're at the same show, we have a background, a base of things that we like, but like to have that, like, oh my God, were we supposed to stand next to each other? Like,
Okay, universe. I
yeah,
see what you did there.
I see you.
I see you making yourself known.
It's like running into somebody out of state
Mhm.
from hometown. You ever
Yeah.
done that?
Oh yeah.
It's
It's
awkward.
weird. It's like that can't be so and so.
I'm walking in Vegas,
Sure enough.
Las Vegas, walking down Fremont Street. I was there for pool. It was the first night we were there. And I hear Denny Michaels, Bozeman. Well, I don't know what he goes by on the internet, but I hear his laugh. And I'm like, no way. And I turn around and he's like, no way. Like, of the whole strip, Vegas is huge. You know what I mean? Like, to be off strip, same place, same time, to run into a hometown homie that's like, what? I think we're supposed to hang out for a minute, bro. It was super, super, super weird. Or I went to the airport one time, got on the plane with people I knew that were also going to the same place to catch a connector flight. So it was like, oh, are you going to the same thing? What are you doing here?
Last time I went out west, one of my clients who, like, I talk about science and technology and aliens with, was on the same flight as us.
Right.
Yeah. It's always fun to see just familiar faces anywhere. It reminds you that the world is little, and even though we're all coming and going, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like, this is why it matters how you treat people. Like, you never know when, like, you just never know when you're going to see that person again, or you're going to connect with that person again. Like, even if it's just a brief introduction of somebody,
Right,
the community is so small but so big at the same time that, like, you see each other again, you cross paths again.
So,
like,
weird little tidbit along that same line. I recently had to fly and did a little bit of emergency travel back and forth within 48 hours. Happened to get laid over at the same airport twice, right? And I wasn't feeling really well traveling, and had to go. And I went back to the same place and sat back down and got the same server like the next day. And I got that, like, what is,
do you live here, sir?
I remember
Are you
from,
lost?
it's an air.
Is this deja vu?
Nah, I just laid over twice. So doing a bounce back. It's awkward. Not awkward, but unique. Like, what are the chances of being in a busy airport and running back into the same service? She's like, do you want the same thing? I was like, actually, yes, thank you. Made it easy, made it convenient. Yeah. If I would have been a jerk to her the day before, imagine coming back and her being like,
you again.
But instead it was, hey, how you doing? You feeling okay?
Ben probably left an impression too. Usually he's a pretty generous tipper when we
I wouldn't go that
get out
far.
together. Some people leave 18% and that's it, and they consider that generous.
Depends on where I'm at. You charge me $32 for biscuits, you're getting 15%. I'm sorry. I'm just
I
kidding.
bet this wasn't that day though.
No. more
It
of
makes a
them.
difference to servers though, just know that they're appreciated.
Yeah,
Like money aside, when
Manners.
servers get treated well, like
Correct.
there would be nothing more degrading than being treated poorly and then being left a big tip. It'd be like, I don't even want
I
this
don't want
salty
your
money.
I don't want your money.
I don't want it.
I'm also a verbal tipper in the best way, because like if you show appreciation through the meal, thank you very much, may I please, type of behavior, for lack of a better term, and then tip well, it generally and genuinely leaves a, oh, I did a good job. That person's day was changed because of our interaction. There's a magic that happens, especially with food. I came up in restaurants. I know we've touched on that before, but like there's a magic that happens when somebody comes in a bad mood because they're hungry, they're tired, they've been at work all day, they've been stressed out, and they need that moment to sit, refuel, recharge, become a person again.
Mhm.
And if you handle that interaction gracefully, everybody's cranky before they order food. They're hungry.
Everybody's in a rush, wants seated right now.
They've waited. Well, even if they haven't waited, you walk in and sit right down. They're still like, I want my drink now. I want my food now, because that's the mindset you're in.
Mhm.
That's the, I need to be catered to, and I need food. It's not a want. You need that. So your body naturally changes your attitude to seek that. So everybody's short when they're hungry. Hangry is real. It's a thing.
Yes.
So servers deal with that all day, every day. And to have that true appreciation, and to have that, I made their day better. They came in grumpy. They got what they wanted. Their food was great. It was on point. Everything was perfect. They left in a better mood. There's magic in that. You can literally change. You ever heard a full person that had a good meal be like, oh, that was horrible? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist after a good meal. And you know what I'm saying? You're genuinely stuffed and happy. Fat and happy is a thing.
Mhm.
Like, I let this go out. I'm
Oh.
yakking.
It's all right.
Um,
I mean, that's our goal. Is to yak.
yeah, I guess.
Yakety yak.
But there's to show that true appreciation, I feel like goes a long way. And it's the same with the way you interact with your tattooer. They're pouring their soul into what they're doing. This is their art, their skill, their craft. And to not have that entitlement when you deal with people that are doing you a goddamn favor is important, especially in a tattoo. That's a lifetime mark. That
Mhm.
is them pouring their creation onto your skin. And to have this, what do you mean I can't come in at noon? What do you mean I have to be on a waiting list? I can't pay you more to jump up ahead. What do you mean I can't do this?
This is something I was just talking
Fuck
about with
off.
Em the other night when we were working on. She had a few questions for me about some people that had messaged me, and we just kind of went down that rabbit hole of like, and it doesn't come from necessarily being rude. Like a lot of times people truly think they're doing you a favor. Like, I'm ready to come in right now. I'm ready to put my money in your hand.
Right.
But they don't understand that there's a line of 50 or 60 people ahead of you that are equally as enthusiastic to like
Again,
pay for my time.
sense of
And
entitlement.
yeah, it's
Even if it's non-aggressive,
yeah.
even if it's not intentional, it's a
Well,
it's a thing.
one of the complaints that I have gotten here and there is that it's very impersonal to do everything through email, which I only handle things through email
In the
and through
beginning.
my manager up until our consultation. And then from our consultation on, like every time we see each other, you get my undivided attention and time,
But
and you
that's why
get my
there is a
entire
filter
day,
process.
and you get like, I guess one of the things that we were talking about is like, for me, okay, it might be a little impersonal to like describe your idea to somebody else who's kind of like filtering ideas for me. Yeah, that might be a little impersonal, but when we sit down one-on-one, you're getting 100% of me.
Right.
Like, you get my attention, not only my attention, but you get like my emotional space. You
Right.
get my creative space. You get 100% of me as a person, and like
that's
as a spirit.
lot.
That's really a lot to ask of somebody. So when you want me to, when I want to give you 100%, but I still have 4 hours of 30 other people to talk to in that day,
Mhm.
I'm already emotionally exhausted and drained before I even get to work, because I've talked to so many people about ideas that may or may not be something that like is up my alley, but like I want to do it for them. I feel obligated to do it for them, but they're not on the same wavelength as
Right.
what I'm trying to make, or as like what's coming out of me.
Right.
So like it's a really funny thing to be like, no, I mean, like, yes, it is impersonal, but it's kind of like to protect my energy so I can give
Yeah.
you even more when it's your turn.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Instead of like, I've already given everybody else 25% of me today. All that's left is 75% for me to give to you. I'm going to have all these other ideas whirling in my head from these other people that I talked to earlier. And my headspace is already so wound up with so much that like I'm half spent
Yep.
brainstorming about ideas by the time I get to work.
Yeah.
So when I have somebody else handle that first initial part for me, and she saves me all of that headspace and all of that like back and forth of just like brainstorming and like, you know, encouraging the idea to be better or closer to like
Right.
what I'm looking for, or like just like the subtle little tweaks to an idea that will take it from like a mediocre everyday tattoo to like, oh, that's going to be something rad.
Right.
Like having somebody else do that initial process allows me to be relaxed during the day. Like I can get my few personal errands done and I can show up like 100% ready
Right.
to create and ready to like focus on this one project. And then when you get 100% of that, it's so easy for me to just tap into whatever that creative source is that like
Yeah.
pushes it out of my
Yeah.
hands. It's so
You don't
much
have
easier.
to unclog your head from the 50
Yeah.
emails you just went through
Yeah,
first.
like I can sit down and I can, you know, like we all know I smoke weed. So, you know,
No.
I usually, if my clients smoke, I smoke with them, but I always invite them with me, even if they
Right.
don't smoke. Like I let everybody know at my consultation that like this is kind of part of my process. It helps me connect with you. Like as crazy as that sounds, like sometimes it's not even about being high, but it's opening that channel of communication.
Right.
So even if my client doesn't smoke, they get to talk with me and they get to see me as I'm like,
In real
you
life.
know, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and you've seen it. You've seen the difference when I sit down somewhere and I'm like a million miles a minute, and then we get
Yep.
to smoking, and it's like, okay, less swirl,
Let's focus.
more. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, and in an open conversation in a time of relaxation, you might even be able to develop and understand an idea a little bit better.
I
And
think it makes all the difference in the world.
develop the personality of the tattoo and
Mhm.
to have it involve more of their natural intuition and aspects.
I get
because
a lot of
you're
ideas.
learning who they are.
I get a lot of ideas when I'm talking to somebody and it's not even me brainstorming about their tattoo. It's like they'll just be talking about their kids. Cut to several weeks later, we're talking about another tattoo idea. And it'll be like, oh, I remember you said you play baseball with your kids a lot. Do you want to incorporate something like that into
Right,
this? And
right.
like to see somebody light up because A, I remembered that
Yes.
detail, but B, now I made this idea their story
Right.
instead of this generic story or this
Well-
this thing that they saw that was like an okay idea, but now it's special,
And
more special for them because I know them a little bit.
Introduces an idea that the client is also pumped about, it builds this level of trust. Like, yes, we were on the same page.
Mhm.
You saw my vision, you interpreted it, and you understood it. And without that personal connection, it's hard to interpret somebody else's vision. So without knowing that that moment was important, without knowing that that's something that is even available, and as a tattooer, you know what's going to work as a tattoo and not an image, right?
Mhm.
So having a tattooer come to you and be like, look, you like this is going to be awesome if we can do it this way, builds this enthusiasm and builds this excitement for the we're on the same page.
Mhm.
This is going to be rad. I can't wait to see it done. We know exactly the goal, the plan, the idea, that like it builds this hype you can't buy. I remember
It's that custom hype. Like, you
Right.
know, it's built for you. You
Right.
know, all the thought was with you in mind. Like the difference between me buying, let's take this to like outside of the tattoo realm. When I'm looking at glass art, like the difference between me like looking at something and being like, I need to have that, and buying it is totally different than me like hitting up an artist that I've been following for 5 years. Like, hey man, I love the way you do this, this, and this. I'd
Right.
love to have like something one-off and experimental. And then like once we start a conversation about my artwork and like
Yep.
if they pique a genuine interest in my work and my tattoos, then like now our imaginations have become connected.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what they make, like
I-
we've aligned and I'm gonna love it.
Mine and your, like, I know we talked about it a lot off topic, like what would be cool, but like the consultation process for figuring out what we were going to do for the back of my legs was the best for me, because it was just kind of like, oh, here's a kind of minute thing I'd like to incorporate, run with it. And to watch your brain go click, click. Okay, we'll start there. Click, click. Okay, we're going to add that. Okay, click, click. Now this is going to transfer into, oh, yes, this is what we're doing. Like that inspiration to watch somebody's creative process is awe-inspiring to me. To never have had that drive to, you know what I mean? Like, and to watch somebody that can just take that and get so pumped about it and be like, you're almost more excited about the tattoo than I was. Not in the best way. Yes, I'm fucking pumped. Don't get me wrong, but like to watch you be like, we get to do this, and we're gonna throw in this. We're gonna put fucking floaty things in there. Like it was just that to me builds this just. Oh my god, this is gonna be epic.
And then it was like, do the colors have to make sense? Nope. Now you made it just a playground.
And that's the freedom of trust. That's the freedom of knowing that no matter what you do, I'm going to be like, that's an amazing connection that people normally don't have the luxury of.
Mm-hmm. And I like to have that connection with every single client and every single project. Does it happen every time? No, but I love it when it does, because those are the projects that stand out in a crowd. And those are the ones that like just grow into bigger projects. And then those end up being the clients that get to know one another, because you end up coming to me for years, and then your kids end up coming to me, and, you know, whole families
Can
come
you
to
tie
me.
this into this?
Yeah. I mean, I've realized, and I definitely don't mind it, but now that I'm not necessarily taking on like cover-ups per se, now that like cover-ups are kind of like, unless it's a really, really rad idea, cover-ups are kind of being filtered off of my schedule. One of the things that I'm starting to do is like, well, okay, so you want me to do, for instance, Lacey, my appointment for tomorrow. So she talked to me about, she's heavily tattooed on 3 of 4 limbs, and the 4th limb that's not heavily tattooed, she had some rough work on her foot and ankle, and she's got some rough work like high up on her thigh, but she's got a lot of open area that's like ready for me to tattoo. And like as I'm looking at her whole collection, it's like, even though this isn't what you wanted me to do, like, do you want to rework some of your other things and bring those to life while we brainstorm about this? And she was like, you'll do that? It's like,
Sure.
well, I like, if you're this close to finishing your collection, let's start making everything cohesive. Like
Right.
if you're down to keep coming to me, let's start tying and connecting everything, and this will just be like the cherry on top. And she was like, I can't believe you want to do that for me. It's
Right.
like, well, I
Because
see
that-
what your
but
overall
that's-
vision you were going for, but like these different artists, I can see where they missed the mark, but I can connect the dots for you.
But that is rare to find someone that's like,
But I just see it sometimes. Like
yeah.
and then once I see it, I can't not put it there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I'm such a whole collection mindful
Yep.
artist, where like, if this is gonna look this rad, well, I mean, you don't want people asking why the other stuff looks like that, do you? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I do 100%.
Like,
I just had a bunch of stuff reworked by the same guy that did it, and it was like, even just getting that refresh to catch up with
from the age.
Mm-hmm. And have it match not even match. It wasn't even like a lot of rework. It was just brightening up some colors, and you know what I mean? It was a completely different tattoo now. And I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's kind of for me when I'm connecting stuff and I'm like filling in pieces of the story, like
It makes it
between
all
pieces that
cohesive.
exist.
That
I
fresh layer
literally
gives
just
it
see
that.
it though. Like, you know what I mean? When tattoos don't connect and there's like random, like,
Right.
I mean, if we put a few more leaves here and bring another bud over here and
Yeah.
another leaf here, like that can all flow really gracefully. And like, it just appears to me sometimes.
Yeah.
And then when my client will be like, well, why didn't they do it like that? It's like,
Because you only
honestly,
had
they
one
just
piece
might not
there.
have seen it. Like it's
You-
the weed, man. Like,
Well, you might not have been there in your collection to where all the cohesiveness had made sense. So what was the point of shading in a background that now might not make sense with anything? So a lot of people got, lack of a better term, stamp tattoos,
Yeah.
because in an early collection, you don't know if that person is going to be a heavily tattooed.
to be
individual or
fair,
not.
that is a conversation that I have with people a lot sooner
what are your
on
tattoo
than early
goals?
in my career. Early in my career, it was like, okay, you tell me what you want, I'll do it.
Well-
Early in my career, I didn't take the reins. I really prided myself in you tell me what you want, and I'm going to do, and I'm going to do as good as I can. I'm going to knock that as far out of the park and exceed your expectations, but I'm going to do exactly what you want. So when people would say, I want this here, I want it this big,
Right.
I didn't have the like,
It's
I
gonna,
didn't realize that I could coach people into getting better tattoos.
right.
And like it slowly evolved into like, I mean, I can do that for you, but I might not necessarily share it. Like I might not post that I did that. And
Right.
then like to realize like, if I wouldn't be proud that I like proud enough to post it, I probably shouldn't do it, or I shouldn't do
Right.
it in that way, or maybe I should do it in another way that makes it better. And like over years, it turned into like, okay, yes, I can do all of this, but let's brainstorm about this whole section of your arm, not this one little piece, but let's
Right.
brainstorm about your whole upper arm or your whole lower arm.
See,
or
if you would have asked me early in my collection if I was going to be this tattooed, I would have told you no.
me too.
Absolutely would have told you no. I, in my mind, was going to get a couple trinkets and one or two large pieces and be done. But the
Welcome back.
mindset was not bodysuit. So now I've got a lot of weird gaps and fillers, and let's throw a rose there and type of, because I wouldn't have been able to answer that question honestly, because when I was 18, I did not think I was going to be tattooed.
I'm really glad that I did not get heavily tattooed as soon as I started tattooing. I'm glad that I was patient, and I was glad that early on, and honestly, it was probably because of conventions like Motor
Right.
City and Hell City, but I'd
Right.
see these other collectors and I just really liked, I prefer where limbs look cohesive.
Yep.
It's my preference. I'm not going to say it's wrong if you don't collect that way, but my preference is I like limbs to be cohesive. So with my own collection, it wasn't like, well, I'm going to just get tattoos on my arms. It was, when I get my arms, I'm going to get a sleeve. And when I
Right.
get my leg, I'm going to get a sleeve. And I, although my left leg isn't a sleeve, like the large piece that is on it is 2/3 of my upper leg. Like that's a pretty big body panel. So I personally like large cohesive tattoos. And I personally like when one tattoo flows into the other and the whole body becomes to look like an arrangement of artwork,
Right.
like a curated arrangement that flows like a story that changes. That's not right or wrong. That's just my preference. And that's how I prefer to work on people. So that means like if I'm going to do a large project on your leg, I want you to be proud of every tattoo that you have.
See, I remember starting like most of my tattoos were on my torso when I first started getting tattooed. You couldn't see them. So I remember when I made the decision to start tattooing my arm, it was a half sleeve, and I was like, no, we're gonna keep it under the cuff. And my guy was like, okay, we can do that. And as we're doing it, it was just kind of like, well, what's the point? So then he had to shift his idea to be like, all right, well, we'll stack them and we'll do one here and then from that point on, it was designed as a sleeve. It was, we're doing your whole leg. We're doing your whole, you know what I mean? Like actually I did my leg first, but that's what I meant.
The possibility to make a story like wrap and move and be
Right.
cohesive is just so, like when you plan out a whole limb, I just love the
Oh.
freedom that you have.
That was the beauty of working with the same artist for 10 years. He knew that our visions aligned at one point. Do you know what I mean? Like we got to the point where it's like, oh, you're going to collect. If you're going to
I was
collect.
like, oh, you're in this.
Yeah. I went from little baby trinket tattoo on my leg and then a trinket tattoo on my chest, like, you know, little round target on my chest, to like, all right, dude, let's tattoo my ribs. And we tattooed armpit to hip. And I sat through that. And the next time it was like, all right, let's plan a half sleeve. He was like, all right, you're in. So about halfway through the half sleeve, you know what I mean? He was like, not talking me
carried
into
away are
it,
you going
but
to get
like,
with this?
he definitely had to coach that conversation of like, you already have this, you already have that. Like you're really going to stop at a half sleeve. And it was kind of like not encouraged, but an open conversation. Like, help me craft the design of this to make sure we're doing it cohesively. And then it was nice to know that the comfort in his cohesion plan was with the same artist.
Yep.
I knew that it was all going to be the same when it was done.
Yep. It's kind of the same way we're approaching your leg. Like we started in on one part of it, but
Right.
as it grows, it will, like, I didn't need to go through and necessarily outline and commit your whole leg. Like the way that we're doing it, this is going to evolve as we work. You know, it's such a big project that
I love that
little by
it
little.
feels like you are starting on one end of a canvas and just
working my way around.
Working your way through. It's like the panorama camera.
Yep.
Like tilty.
My plan is to pretty much come all the way across both legs and then come back. So everything will be settled and healed for several months by the time we come back through and put the final details and little crispies. And so it'll probably be like 85% all the way across. And then we'll have probably a session or two on each leg, just popping in the brightest brights and darkest darks. And it's going to be crazy.
I am very excited.
I'm just excited that, like, so while we're talking about Ben's legs, the whole project is still like in its infancy.
Yeah,
but like the consultation was like, I kind of like that painting and I like that painting and like throw a guy with a hammock in it. And I was like,
that
sold.
Was even like not even a hard sell. Like it wasn't even like
they were my paintings.
Yeah, no. I meant the hammock guy. It was kind of like a hammock camp. I kind of wanted something nature-esque. Could be a chipmunk. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was a conversation. It wasn't a do this.
Yep.
So to have us align on the same, like, well, what if we threw a hammock here and did this and did that and then daydream the fuck out of this? It was.
Yep.
It was an easy way to slide into having somebody else on the same page. Like it was really comfortable.
Well, one of the cool things about your collection, you've got so many nature elements, even though like the majority of your tattoos are very American traditional, Japanese influence, traditional. They all have nature elements throughout, right. Be it like the lightning bars, the wind swirls, the right. water, the snake and flower. Like before I even worked on you, you've got all these nature elements. And then you get to your back piece and it's this crazy geometric skull centipede mashup. And then your hand is geometry. And so you've got this weird mashup of nature elements and geometry. So it's just the perfect storm of brewing for me to throw in some like daydream elements and some plutonic solids that I love playing with in my paintings, you know, like the icosahedral shape that I put in a lot of stuff.
I'm very excited for the opportunity of the availability to hold that style of color in this area, because on your arms and on your legs that are heavy sun exposed and things,
this is going to look as vibrant as I put it in for the rest of your life.
It is going to stay, because my legs are pasty white and they don't see the sun, and this area is going to be well protected, well guarded, and
it's not too bad when I work on you either, huh?
No, it's an opportunity to really showcase the super high color contrast that you do and not have it be a tattoo where I'm worried about it bleaching out or worried about it getting sun damaged or
right.
worried about having to make sure it's covered all the time. That's my appeal to American traditional tattoos on my arms and on my, you know what I mean? It's a very like, that sun bleached is still going to look like a ship. It almost adds that characteristic of what the nostalgia of American traditional tattoos should be. So that's kind of why I chose it. It holds, and I wasn't really trying to. So to have that painter-esque style in an area that is available to hold that color and stay that.
Your yellows will always stay yellow.
I'm pumped about
Unless
it.
you start like sunbathing booty up in like man thong.
You've seen the pastiness. I don't think that's ever going to be an option.
I feel like it'd be a cry for help if I ever saw you like that. Like, Ben,
Why you booty tan, bruh?
just get in the van, buddy. Just get in the van.
What?
We're gonna have
why
a
you
talk.
Booty tan, bruh? I'm
Message received. Get in the van. Get in the van.
I'm one of the weird connector spots that I'm kind of not dreading, but like I've got this weird butt cheek panel.
I think we're just gonna bring some sky up. We'll just continue connecting
I'm
it in
just-
a way that'll make sense when we get there.
I thought I had that mapped out, and then it was just like, nope. And so now there's this weird gap, and I'm just so not looking forward to it. Is this, I guess how I'm gonna put it. Not that I'm not looking forward to it. It's like the one awkward spot left. I'm like, what the fuck we gonna do in this weird ass butt cheek panel? Like, I don't know.
We're gonna have to think about what if we came up with a few topics that would be appropriate and we then had a poll.
You want a butt cheek pole tattoo?
Yeah, it would be appropriate things that would fit there. It's the spot
Okay.
next to the gorilla.
Yeah,
Okay.
but here's
So it's not that big of a space.
here's my gig. I don't know how keen on advertising the space I am.
It wouldn't be the only tattoo that we can't speak of.
Oh, hush. I guess if we black bar out my butt crack and just show the available space, I'd be in.
What if we just
But
put a
I
sensor
don't-
bar?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I
No,
don't
I mean as the tattoo.
No, thank you. Could you imagine writing that across? Like, could you imagine cohesive lettering that had to be able to flex with your crack?
Sensor.
Yes,
Sensor. Sensor.
As I walk, you feel like you're tripping. What? No.
What if we put a sign that said, if you see this tattoo, call for help?
Nah. Because I mean, sometimes, nah.
What if we just did a classic your name and really cool neon bright letters?
How about like a drop down fluorescent?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Fluorescent
Yeah.
neon. Yeah. Like
Old-
real
old-
glowy
old
looking.
neon tube style.
Yeah, neon. Like get neon, argon, xenon, glass tube,
Can we add a cord?
a little pull cord. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We could make the
In an
cord hang
appropriate
really,
space.
really low. And people would be like, what's that tassel go to?
Funny. Funny.
Funny you should ask.
It's not what you think. That could be the most misconstrued tattoo of all times. People are like, what's that lead to?
Nope.
Nope. Neon light.
Just kidding.
Bet you $100 I got your name on my ass.
I feel
But
like
that
it
would be an awkward
fantastic.
one to like show though. Like normally your name tattoos are in like the outside top cheek. You know what I mean? I would have to like fully expose buttocks to win that bet. Like
It's
full-on
just butt.
short drop.
It's just butt.
It's like a all butt.
Let's not talk about how much butt's too much butt.
I just show
I feel like
mine
it's
off.
my comfort level of how much butt is too much butt. You can show how much booty you want to show. I don't give a shit. But I mean, I think my brown eye sensor is my brown eye sensor.
It is.
You
I'm
do
just
you.
kidding. I was just kidding.
Oh, I wasn't mad about it. I was just expressing.
I mean, I didn't say spread them. I just
she went
said.
there. We were leaving
just
it out. She
said.
was like, nope.
No, I need everybody to be aware. I am not implying that you bend over, spread full moon tonight. I'm just saying, like, pant down. That's not that bad. That's not unheard of. I mean, I like pull both sides of my pants down to show my whole tattoo, and
That's
there's
very
not
true.
even anything exciting there. It just makes the whole tattoo more symmetric and
Right.
impressive when you can see like the symmetry with my anatomy. Good
Okay,
job, Russ.
I'm in.
Good job, Russ.
Deal.
I'm gonna do some neon letters.
On.
What color neon?
That's you do colors.
Okay.
I'm a civilian. You're an artist. You pick those things.
Now we're gonna have to look at some legitimate neon signs and make some decisions. We're gonna work on this later today. Like, I'm not
She's
gonna
like,
tattoo you later
"We're
today, but
on.
we're gonna
Can this be a back
this is
burner
committed."
thing? Like I wasn't 1, 2, 3 butt cheek tattoo. Like we got open projects.
So, I mean, that's true,
We got open projects.
but you'll have it to look forward to. And maybe one day I'll be working down below and we'll just Zensa that cheeky and I'll just spend an hour zapping it in there and you won't even feel it.
Yeah, right. Just it'll be cool.
Yeah.
We'll just throw it out there one day.
I know how well the Zensa works on the cheeky. I
Oh,
got
yeah.
you. I can tattoo
I-
that thing numb.
You know I'm a Zensa fan.
Man, so when my butt was tattooed, like a lot of it was done at Ink and Dagger, but a lot of it was done at the Tattoo the
Mhm.
Lou convention in St. Louis. It was a very long day. It was
Taxing.
really a very long, taxing, exhausting day. I was never more thankful to have Prenum. And
Yeah.
by that time, Russ and I were far enough along in the project that he was able to use it very effectively and like numb an area ahead of time appropriately, wipe it off, jump in,
Right.
you know, got in a workflow where the windows of time that were needed were great. And
Right.
because everything's symmetrical, we could pre-numb one area, he could work there while the other side was numbing and kind of jump back and forth. But the end of those sessions where like everything was open and like,
raw.
I mean, it's just sensitive. Like there's nothing to numb it. Like it really is traumatized open skin. Your body knows it's traumatized, even if it's been numb, like with your elbow. Like
Right.
you said the numbing stuff worked great, but you were probably still just as exhausted by the end of the day, weren't you? Like your body knows. Your
Very.
body knows for sure.
When I've got hot stuff writing in Peter Rabbit Easter Bunny on my left cheek. And when we did that, we did it in Nate Marty's living room randomly on Easter weekend with zero prep, with no like went in.
We're just jumping in.
Drew it on with a Sharpie. I went in for like he drew it on and I was like, and it went from like, we're going to do this jammer to like, we're doing a tattoo today, dude. And I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
My gummy berry juice bottle got me.
Not at all.
Did you jump into it?
Oh yeah, we tattooed the whole thing. One shot, one kill. Did it all that day. That's how Davey works. We're doing it. It's getting done. It's getting blasted. The color's gonna be in. It's gonna be solid. And it's gonna hold for life.
For life.
Davey Casey, Davey Rips, whatever his monikers are. As far as like American traditional tattooing, his style, his implications are. And like I've always been a big fan of how he does things. So if he said we're doing this all in one shot, I just said yes, sir. He did my sternum in one shot too, like a big dagger over top of my sternum. Like
that's best just to get the sternum done and out of the way.
I would have paid money to break that session up into two, though. I'm gonna talk about leaving your soul.
Mm.
Like I would have paid money.
I looked forward to getting my sternum finished so little. I had like PTSD. When I would see Ty, my hands would sweat.
Yeah.
I get like trembly.
I got mine just done.
I get trembly. I mean, I'm cool when I see Ty now because I know like he's not going to tattoo my soul again.
Right.
Not that he was a bad person for tattooing my soul. I appreciate it. I'm grateful that he did.
Absolutely.
Oh,
But that was an experience.
yes.
That was an experience.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think I'm tough. That day,
I'm a whiner.
session 2 on my chest proved I am not tough.
Oh, I'm a whiner.
I am not tough at all. I thought I was. I thought I could power through it. No. I could only have one person tattoo me at a time that day, or in that moment that day. Like there was no. If you can get the like solar plexus of your sternum tattooed at the same time somebody is tattooing anywhere else on your body,
Nope.
You are a gangster and superhuman.
You're talking to the guy that went into a back tattoo appointment, just laid down, did the whole thing, got ready. About 30 minutes in, was like, nah, brah, cut it. Today's not the day. Today is not the day. I'm sorry. I'm not mentally in the mood. I cannot mentally fortitude myself right now. My brain is 1,000 other places, and this is fucking torture.
I had a session with Adam like that one time, and
it had nothing to do with him. It was all my mental headspace.
Yep. There was a session on my back that was that way too, but
Yeah.
I powered through it because I'd already
Nope.
traveled all the way down to Georgia, so both days just sucked.
Luckily, Rich is such fam. He got it. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do this today. And he's like, no, dude, I understand. Just let me finish this one little bit.
Yep.
He tattooed for another like 15 minutes. And I was like, bro, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. He's like, no, I get it.
That's
get
the
it.
luxury
It's
I
like,
had when Adam
very,
was
very,
working on my
very
leg.
appreciative of that.
There were a few sessions where like there was a day where he had some crazy stuff going on, and I was just like, hey, like if you want to just wrap up early, like I won't
I'm
I
cool
won't be
with that.
mad. Like, and the luxury is I was only an hour away, so
Right.
it's pretty local, so
Right.
it's not a big deal. But there was one day where I was just sitting like garbage, and it was a headspace thing. Like my
Absolutely.
headspace wasn't in the right place, and whatever was going on, and I was just jumpier than usual, and I was just like I just couldn't get into the groove. Like usually, even if I'm jumpy and life sucks, like after a few minutes, like I
Yeah.
settle and it's
That's
okay.
exactly how that day
But it
was.
just wasn't. And Adam was like, let's reschedule. And I was like, I won't hate you. Like, all right. Another day sounds fantastic. But he made the point. He's like, you're local. There's no sense in sitting here and torturing you when we can do this again in a few weeks and we can get hours and I'm not fighting you and you're
Right.
not running away
Right.
from me. And as a tattooer, I learned in that moment too.
Speak up.
No, just like to pay attention to my clients and like
Right.
if they're just particularly not sitting well, or it comes down to like listening to your client's body. Some days we're built to sit and we can sit for 10 or
Right.
11 or 12 hours. That's not every day. Even my collectors that do sit like rocks, it's not every time.
Right.
Like
I
we're
get twitchy.
living things,
Yeah, I
and
get
sometimes people
twitchy.
are recovering from colds or
Right.
you know,
Just be
they're-
careful how you
they're
set your
injured in
appointment.
other
Be ready for it.
ways or
Mentally
Yeah.
prepare yourself. I feel like the impulsive ones are the hardest ones, where it's like, oh, we're gonna tattoo tomorrow, cool. Or we're gonna tattoo today, cool.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be the hardest ones.
where you're not mentally
Or
prepared.
you weren't ready for it.
Yeah.
Or even if you just had a crazy day. I mean, it was definitely like work stress inducing. My day went long. I'm running late for the appointment. I didn't get to eat what I wanted for lunch. My nutrition's off. I'm out of balance. Like,
This is another reason I like smoking with my clients when they first get there. Because
They
like
get
even if they're running late or if I'm running late, we've got that moment of like, it's okay, man. Like
breath.
you got me for the day. We're here, like deflate, let it out,
Right.
like relax. None of that matters now. You're here. I like having that moment to unwind with my clients.
Right.
Not everybody needs it, but I just like it. I like, especially if somebody runs into traffic and they show up flustered or they're worried that I'm going to be mad that they're late. And, I'm usually just chilling. Like I never want to put pressure on somebody to like rush. Like, no, it's like, take your time, get your,
So the moral of the story is it's okay. Be open and communicate.
yeah.
But don't be late.
Jordan, and don't be late.
Or Jordan will cut you
Right. Or I'll
Yeah,
start
I
getting
won't cut you.
I'll give you 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Usually after like 15 or 20 minutes, if I haven't heard from my clients, that's when I start like checking social media
I feel
and
like
email.
a fool. I start to feel like a fool. Once I'm sitting there for 20 minutes to a half an hour, I'm like, all right, now you've started to really waste my time.
You got me.
Even if it's someone I like, you would have communicate.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Communicate, exactly.
And if you don't, like, I'm sitting here for 20 minutes, like money is
Communication
literally
is the
flying
key
by
to
right now.
So much.
Yeah, I usually give it like a
can
full hour before
Always
I'm
have
like,
something else I can be doing.
I usually give the full hour before I'm like, all right, I'm heading out. My client shows up, call me.
Yeah. I'll give an hour before I leave the studio. 20 minutes before, I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm
Yeah, that's
mad.
fair.
Right. I'm starting to decide to be a little bit more angry about this.
So communicate
Yeah.
openly and honestly
All right.
with everyone all the time.
All right, guys, we rambled for 3 hours already today.
3:01.
All right. And I left for 15 minutes.
Dude, it was baller. I didn't think you'd be back that fast.
All right.
Happy
I'm
to see
literally
you.
around the corner.
Pop right back in. Beautiful.
So next week, 50th episode, we're going to have Adam join us. I don't know. We're probably going to talk about aliens a lot. We're probably going to talk about tattoos a lot. We'll probably talk about traveling a lot. We'll probably just like recap everything.
We don't talk about it all.
Yeah.
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
But it'll be a fun show. It probably won't be super serious,
Biomech,
but it's going to be a
aliens.
fun show. Yep.
My favorite.
I think, will it be the first time that we've had just Adam on?
I'm not sure.
I know he joined the panel.
No, we've done some other ones. I don't know about live with reinventing. back
Yeah.
when we were doing them standalone when we
Mhm.
went out to Oregon.
Yep.
But cool, guys.
All right,
Well,
guys.
great show. Y'all know where to find us at this point.
Whoop, whoop.
Peace.
See you next week.
Later.
Thanks, Ben.